Hello, this is Lisa, CEO of Sight for White and White Sense. Welcome you to this week's Talking News on Friday, the 25th of October 2024. I hope everybody has now received their newsletter and have taken account of the save the dates coming up for future events such as the college lunch on the 29th of November. Please remember this is your newsletter, and I was delighted to be able to include, I think it was 4 member questions this issue, and it is enjoyable to research the items to make sure that we pass on the latest information. With regard to the smart glasses, we have had a few questions. The next version of them is due to come out in January 2025, and we do suggest anybody holds off until then, as the newer version will always have new features enabled on them. I have applied for a grant in order for the charity to be able to purchase several of the new tech mentioned in the newsletter this time, but I won't find out of the grant until probably realistically February. But of course I will keep you updated. Everybody, enjoy the, I believe, better weather we're going to have this weekend. Thank you, Lisa, CEO, Sight for White and White Sense.
Here is this week's charity news for the 25th of October 2024.
There is no swimming for the next 2 weeks at Medina. This is due to school holidays. It will resume on Monday the 4th of November. There will be yoga at Millbrook House on Tuesday between 1:45pm and 2:45pm. The cost is £4, including refreshments afterwards.
Coffee and chat is on Wednesday, starting at 10 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. The cost is £2 to include drinks and a cake. Staff are on hand to help with any queries and to demonstrate equipment.
Thursday, our Mix and Mingle group will resume starting at 10:30 a.m. This group enjoys many activities including craft, quizzes, singing and each other's company. There is currently a waiting list for this group, but do not hesitate to call the office to put your name down on the list. Our latest newsletter has now been sent out. If you have not received a copy, please call the office. The newsletter is packed with exciting articles and news from the charity, so please enjoy and pass on to others who may find it of interest.
There are only 1 week left to enter our short story writing competition, with a closing date of November the 1st. If you would like to know more details, please call the office and ask to speak to Chris.
We now have the menu for our college lunch on Friday the 29th of November. The cost is £13.50 for a wonderful 3-course meal plus tea and coffee. To book your place and receive a menu, please call the office and speak to Susan.
We now have our packs of 10 Christmas cards on sale for £3.50 each. This year we have a variety of designs on offer, so please call the office or pop into Millbrook House to purchase.
Our monthly 100 club has spare balls available. If anyone would like to buy a ball, it is £2 per month or £24 for the full year. The more balls in draw, the higher the prize money each month. If you would like to take part in our monthly draw, please call the office. This is part of our fundraising activities.
If you are interested in joining any of the activities, please do not hesitate to call the office and speak to Susan for more information.
Hello, this is Steve reading a story from the Island Echo, headlined, Sealy blasts council for its dithering over the protection of Military Road. The Isle of Wight Council is failing to plan the protection of the scenic Military Road, the island's former MP has said. Laying into County Hall in a public announcement on his Facebook page, Bob Sealy has said the local authority has dithered in the last few years as the panoramic thoroughfare's collapse comes ever closer. He said, "This month, a year ago, councillors refused a planning application by Island Roads for a scheme to protect the highway from rapid erosion on the section between Brook and Hanover Point. There were reasons to oppose, although thus far it's the only scheme put forward. The question now is, what has been done in the year since that refusal? Erosion brings the road ever closer to the precipice. There is no sign of urgency. It all smacks of a council bereft of any strategy to protect the Military Road, and even in breach of its own planning permission. The island deserves better. I am asking for a rapid and unequivocal assurance that it has a plan for the Military Road and will plan to deliver that plan. In February this year, Council leader Phil Jordan gave a public update on Military Road, saying, "As local residents will be aware, we are experiencing the real effects of geological erosion on the Military Road, the A3055. There are 3 specific sites: the cliff top along Compton Down at Afton Down, and 2 sites between Brook and Compton Farm." Councillor Jordan said erosion between Brook and Compton Farm, sites 14 and 15, was a result of natural coastal erosion and water from the Downs and Chines. He mentioned a potential alternative option to Island Road's rejected plan to protect Site 14 was to reroute this part of the road inland, something he said would ensure the future of the highway for another 20 years or more. Councillor Jordan said the council had held positive discussions with the National Trust, a landowner next to Military Road, and had contacted government departments for their opinion on the inland route option and the possibility of funding for it. The cost of rerouting works was estimated to be more than £20 million. The Isle of Wight Council has been approached for further comment, but declined to comment further at this stage.
Hello, this is an article from the Isle of Wight Radio, read by Sue. Isle of Wight quarry land restoration could continue for 2 more years. Work to restore land at an Isle of Wight quarry with tens of thousands of tonnes of fill material could continue for another 2 years. Supplier of construction and building materials, Wight Building Materials Limited, has sought permission for more time to carry out land restoration at Hale Manor Quarry, a site previously used to extract minerals. The company currently has prior planning approval to restore the land to the south of Arreton with chemically inactive fill material, waste emanating from island construction projects. Extending the restoration work would benefit the environment by providing waste storage capacity and delivering biodiversity gains, according to a letter written by the applicant's agent. Aggregate Industries UK Limited to Council Planning Officer Russell Chick. The document said, "The volume and rate of infill is dependent on the amount of construction activity occurring on the Isle of Wight, which is prone to fluctuations. The economic downturn caused by rising interest rates and cost of living over 2022-23 has caused the slowing rate of restoration infill at the site. The resulting impact of this is that it is now not possible to complete restoration of the site by the current expiry date of the October the 22nd, 2024. And so a Section 73 application is required to modify Condition 1 to extend the expiry date of the permission to the October 22nd, 2026. In September 2022, the Council granted permission for an extension of restoration works until October this year. Permission for both mineral extraction and importing inert material for restoration work at land next to Hell Manor Farm was granted in 2003. In a public comment published on October the 15th, Arreton Parish Council said, "All the recent meeting Arreton Parish Council agreed a neutral response to this application. The Council accepts the proposed 2-year extension to 22nd of October 2026 for restoration works to be completed, but requests that no further extension is granted. A decision on the works extension is expected on January the 6th, while a public consultation will finish on November the 8th.
Digital radio licence awarded to Isle of Wight Company from Isle of Wight Radio, read by Lee. Ofcom has awarded a new DAB radio multiplex licence covering the Isle of Wight to local community interest group Wight Radio Digital CIC. Wight Digital Radio is made up of the island's long-established commercial station Isle of Wight Radio and local community station Vectis Radio. Isle of Wight Radio is part of the Total Sense Media Group and enjoys a monthly audience of 60,000 listeners. In addition to broadcasting to the island for the past 34 years, Isle of Wight Radio is home to the Toy Appeal and Child of Wight Awards. Vectis Radio, an Ofcom licensed community radio station launched as an online-only station in January 2010, began broadcasting on FM in November 2017. Vectis Radio is home to the 4Ps project, an award-winning initiative to help young people develop their confidence, communication skills and self-esteem. The team at Wight Digital Radio said, "We are delighted Ofcom has chosen to award the DAB licence for the island to an island-based organisation. We aim to have a proposed service on the air during 2025, and it will have the capacity to bring more than 20 new and existing radio stations to DAB, delivering a choice of creative content to the vibrant and local radio audience on the island. While we have a number of interested parties eager to provide content for DAB here, we are still happy to talk you through the process of launching a new station, be it a commercial or community station."
This is Den recording an article from the Island Echo. Auditions to be held as actors sought for Apollo Theatre's late next production. Apollo Theatre is looking for 10 actors to take part in the production of The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, to be performed in the new year. The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime, based on Mark Haddon's book of the same name, will be performed from the 14th to the 22nd of February 2025. The theatre is looking for actors aged 16 plus, most of which are multi-role. The Apollo is asking for any new members who are interested in joining the theatre company to come along and audition. The play is very physical, with essential teamwork both vocally and physically. A play reading of the script will be held on Sunday the 27th of October at 6 o'clock in the evening in the Underwood Bar at the Apollo. Auditions will be held on Sunday the 3rd of November at 10:30 on the Apollo stage. For further information, contact social@apollo-theatre.org.uk or simply turn up to the Apollo on the 27th.
Hello, this is Steve reading a story from the Island Echo, headlined, "Time is running out to have your say on dog control orders." Time is running out for islanders to have their say on the Isle of Wight Council's plans to renew dog controls. So far, more than 600 residents have shared their views on whether certain rules around dogs in public spaces should be reintroduced. Public Spaces Protection Order, that's PSPOs, allow the council to continue protecting the island's beaches and public spaces for locals and visitors to enjoy. The council is required to renew these orders every 3 years and consult with residents, but, as exclusively revealed by Island Echo, they failed to do so prior to the summer season. The authority is not proposing any changes to the PSPOs previously in force. These cover a wide range of dog control measures while also encouraging responsible dog ownership. The measures include requiring owners to pick up after their dog in public areas such as parks and open spaces, excluding dogs from selected beaches between the 1st of May and the 30th of September, although the majority of island beaches welcome dogs all year round, requiring dogs to be on a lead in island cemeteries, and restricting dogs from fenced children's play areas. After the consultation, all the comments that are made will be considered before any decision is made. The final decision to agree the new order, with any changes included, will be made by the Council's Cabinet in November. The consultation closes on Sunday 27th of October, and residents can complete the survey by visiting the Council's website. The Council would like to hear the views of all stakeholders: dog owners, users of public spaces, community and sports groups, town, parish and community councils, local residents and businesses. Councillor Laura Peacey-Wilcox, Cabinet Member for Parks and Open Spaces, says, Thank you to everyone who has taken the time to take part in the PSPO consultation so far. I would like to encourage more residents to complete the survey, which only takes 5 minutes to do, as your input will help to shape and inform the future of our PSPOs. Your views are really important, and we will consider all the feedback received to help inform a decision on the proposals.
Hello, this is an article from the Island Echo, read by Sue. Southern Vectis asks passenger to be safe and be seen as evenings draw in. Southern Vectis is urging its passengers, particularly in more rural areas, to ensure drivers can see them when they are waiting at stops. As winter approaches and with the clocks going back this month, more journeys will be made in the dark. So the bus operator is keen to ensure drivers can see those wishing to board. Nikki Horner, Head of Communications for Southern Vectis, says, "Not all bus stops across the Isle of Wight are lit, especially the ones in more rural areas. Passengers who are wearing dark clothes and standing still whilst waiting for their bus may not be seen by our drivers. We ask that people help by shining a light onto the road and gradually rotating it as the bus approaches, being careful not to shine it into the driver's eyes. Many people have a torch on their phones, but we understand that not everybody is able to make themselves seen. Our drivers will still pay extra attention to help ensure customers are able to board during the darker mornings and evenings." Southern Vectis customers are reminded that all clocks will go back on Sunday the 27th of October.
Whitelink wins Net Zero Navigator at 2024 Maritime UK Solent Awards from the Isle of Wight Radio, read by Lee. Whitelink's strategy to reach net zero carbon emissions as soon as possible has been recognised by the judges at Maritime UK Solent. The trophy for Net Zero Navigator was presented to Whitelink's Chief Executive Katie Taylor at a ceremony attended by the region's leading maritime companies. Following the arrival of its hybrid flagship Victoria of Wight in 2018, which cut carbon emissions by 20%, Whitelink has focused on sustainability throughout its operations. It has drawn up plans for all-electric ferries once shore power is available at its ports and commissioned a study into decarbonising the rest of the fleet. Meanwhile, it is installing more electric vehicle or EV chargers at ports, fitting solar panels and redoubling efforts to improve recycling rates. FastCat captain Christian Katomi says everyone in the company is passionate about operating as sustainably as possible. Sailing through Solent waters, we do all we can to protect the environment. We are pleased to accept this award that recognises both our progress so far and our enduring commitment to bring down our emissions through both technological innovation and improving the efficiency of our operations. Maritime UK Solent Chair Anne-Marie Mountfield says, "The Maritime UK Solent Awards continues to be a fantastic celebration of the very best that our regional maritime sector has to offer. This event provides a platform on which to showcase the breadth and exceptional performance of our industry, from the smallest innovators to the largest global players, and highlights the immense diversity and strength of our maritime community."
This is Den reading an article from Isle of Wight Radio. SMS text message scams across the island. The Isle of Wight Council is urging residents to be vigilant of fraudulent SMS messages being circulated. There are various messages being circulated claiming to be from official bodies, including stating you are eligible for £900 from Household Support Fund, cost of living payments from the Department of Work and Pensions, winter heating subsidies for the UK Home Office, parking fines. These messages ask you to click on a link. This is a scam. Please do not click any links or provide any personal information and bank details. Remember to be cautious of unsolicited messages offering money. When in doubt, contact us directly through Trading Standards. You can also forward any suspicious texts to 7726. This is free for UK mobile customers. Your mobile provider will investigate the number and may block it. Stay vigilant and report any suspicious messages, and please pass on this warning to friends and family. Together we can help protect our community.
Hi, this is Steve reading a story from Isle of Wight Radio, headlined Public Inquiry over Controversial Fort Victoria Development Underway. A public inquiry into controversial appealed planning application for a mixed-use development by Fort Victoria Pier in Yarmouth is underway. The inquiry will look into Miles Blumeyer's proposal for 5 residential properties, a commercial fisheries pier, retail space and a sea-to-fork eatery. The proposed development would rejuvenate Fort Victoria Pier, a culturally significant piece of the Isle of Wight's heritage, while encouraging the UK's coastal food tourism, a proven model according to the application's design and access statement. Authored by Rural Property Specialists BCM, the document said, "The economic benefits arising from such projects is exponential in the creation of skilled and vocational and well-paid employment, direct and indirect, the generation of food provenance, and a clear willingness to invest into the island's economy to act as a growing and leading destination." Blameyer's proposal has, however, encountered considerable opposition from the public and was refused planning permission on December the 22nd last year. Justifying the refusal, the council said, "The proposed development comprises housing in a location that is not considered to be suitably sustainable, would be subject to flooding and erosion, and would have an adverse impact on the existing character of the locality. Insufficient details of the proposed commercial uses have been provided to demonstrate that they would be viable in the long term, or provide overriding justification for the housing. The proposed ecological benefits have not been corroborated, and there is insufficient information to demonstrate that the development would have no adverse impact on the special features of European protected sites." Freshwater Parish Council unanimously objected to the application in a public comment published in September last year. Reasons given included that the proposal would compromise the appearance of the iconic landmark from both land and sea, the lack of any neighbourhood need for 5 big houses at a market value, and considerable harm to the site's heritage caused by the proportions of the development.
Hello, this is an article from the Island Echo, read by Sue. Police and Crime Panel approves Donna Jones 2024 to 2028 Police and Crime Plan. Hampshire and Isle of Wight's Police and Crime Commissioner Donna Jones has secured approval from the Police and Crime Panel for her new Police and Crime Plan for 2024 to 2028. The plan, titled More Police, Safer Streets Too, sets out a comprehensive strategy to improve safety across the region, increase police visibility and tackle crime in both urban and rural communities. The Police and Crime Panel, which provides scrutiny and oversight of the Commissioner's work, unanimously endorsed the plan following a detailed presentation from Donna Jones. The plan reflects feedback from over 10,000 residents and incorporates key local and national policing priorities. Speaking about the approval, Donna Jones said, "I am delighted that the Police and Crime Panel has endorsed my new plan for my second term in office. It reflects the views of the public and addresses the issues that matter most to our communities, from increasing police visibility to tackling serious violence, rural crime and antisocial behaviour. This plan will build on the foundations laid in my first term and continue to make Hampshire and the Isle of Wight a safer place to live, work and visit. key priorities in the 2024 to 2028 plan. Increasing police presence. The plan commits to recruiting additional officers, reopening police stations and front counters, and expanding her local Bobby scheme to ensure every community has a dedicated named and contactable neighbourhood officer. Tackling serious violence and knife crimes. Donna Jones' plan focuses on early intervention and collaboration with partners to reduce serious violence, especially among young people, and especially to combat knife crime. Rural and retail crime. Recognising the unique challenges faced by rural areas, the plan will enhance technology and resources to combat fly tipping, poaching and agricultural theft, while also supporting local businesses against rising shoplifting and organised retail crime. Road safety and antisocial driving. Road safety is a top priority, with measures aimed at reducing road deaths, tackling dangerous and antisocial driving, and clamping down on illegal e-scooter use. The Commissioner's plan also aligns with national policing priorities, including reducing drug supply, tackling cybercrime, and improving outcomes for victims of domestic abuse. Donna Jones emphasised the importance of working closely with local communities and partners to ensure these national issues are addressed with a strong local focus. The Commissioner has also reaffirmed her commitment to addressing national threats such as terrorism, organised crime and child sexual abuse. Donna Jones stated that she would ensure Hampshire and the Isle of Wight Constabulary would be well prepared to handle these significant challenges. The Police and Crime Panel's approval of the plan marks the beginning of its implementation, with work already underway to deliver on its promises. An example of the Commissioner already pressing ahead was the launch of the New Hampshire and Isle of Wight Business Crime Partnership earlier this week. Donna Jones explained, "This plan is about making sure we have the resources and capabilities to tackle both local crime and broader, more complex threats facing our region. I will continue to hold the Chief Constable to account to ensure efficient and effective policing for all residents. I'm pleased to get started and begin delivering for residents once again." The Hampshire and Isle of Wight Police and Crime Panel Chair Karen Lucini said, "At our Police and Crime Panel meeting held today, we have carefully scrutinised the Commissioner's Police and Crime Plan, informed by the recent Police and Crime consultation, and are unanimous in our approval of its contents. We believe the 4-year plan sets out a robust blueprint for the Commissioner's term in office, and we are particularly reassured to see targets for the recruitment of more police officers and the reopening of local police stations. We look forward to seeing this plan translated into detailed delivery plan early next year. We are also pleased to see the Commissioner's clear commitment to tackling crime across local communities via a dedicated focus on the core policing functions of response and prevention, therefore meeting residents' needs and building safer communities. The full plan will be published online and printed in due course. Accessible versions of the plan will be available.
Leading education officer says school closure plans have attracted considerable interest from the Island Echo, read by Lee. The leading education officer at the Isle of Wight Council has said controversial plans to shut 6 schools have attracted very considerable interest. Speaking at the Policy and Scrutiny Committee for Children's Services, Education and Skills, Ashley Whitaker said the council had urged people to speak with compassion and kindness throughout the process. Although mentioning that the principle had not always been adhered to, the officer thanked attendees for following last week's meeting. Mr. Whitaker said County Hall welcomed the debate and wide-ranging input. It has received over proposals to reduce surplus school places and expand SEND provision across the island. In an update to the meeting, he said, "Just so we're clear about where we are in the process, we're in the consultation. It's live until the 1st of November. And what will then happen is that the outcomes of that consultation will be collated, put together and shared internally amongst the council and with elected members." The Director of Children's Services, Young People and Families said a cabinet decision on how to proceed following the consultation would take place on the 12th of December, with relevant documents being published 8 days earlier. He continued, "We've had very considerable interest from a wide range of people who care deeply about the Isle of Wight, not just from schools that are specifically named, but from many other schools and indeed people who don't have direct links with schools, but just have a view and opinion about education on the Isle of Wight. We've had lots of people who have taken the time to come along and share their views and opinions in face-to-face meetings, but also complete surveys, email in, write in." Whittaker acknowledged that the plans covered a difficult and sensitive topic, with schools playing a substantial role in communities.
This is Den reading an article from Isle of Wight Radio. Council issues prison estates update. Only around 14% of a 3-year-old Ministry of Justice (MOJ) grant has been spent by County Hall on maintaining Newport's prison estate roads. The Isle of Wight Council said $869,000 has so far been spent out of a total budget of $6.3 million on street lighting upgrades and drainage surveys. County Hall struck a deal with the MOJ in April 2021 to take over responsibility for the upkeep of prison estate roads on the edge of Newport. Questions have been asked as to what has happened to the money given to the council. A spokesperson for the council said, "It has been spent upgrading the street lighting and surveys to determine the conditions of the drains taking surface water from the roads." As to what will happen to the remaining unspent funds, the spokesperson continued, "In priority order, to carry out any necessary repairs to the drainage network to ensure it is fit for purpose, to repair the road surface and potholes where necessary, to remove unnecessary street furniture." The £6.3 million is held in an earmarked reserve and drawn down when spent or needed. There is no budget line in 2024 to 2025 as we are still waiting for the outcome of the tender process. The deal provoked a mixed reaction when it was first announced over 3 years ago. Though described as a major win by the then Isle of Wight Conservative administration, other councillors expressed disquiet that the £6.3 million received would not be enough to maintain the roads. Soon after the £6.3 million figure was first announced, Richard Quigley said, "The Ministry of Justice has offered the £6.3 million. How much will the work actually cost? My concern is that the total bill will exceed that amount. In a rush to give good news before the local elections, they could be saddling the island with more problems. I think we deserve to see what the full cost of the work will be." Councillor Andrew Garrett said County Hall had stated it could take 2 years to carry out the work. When the deal was being agreed with the MOJ in March 2021, residents were reportedly keen to see work on the roads happen after 40 years of neglect. The representative for Parkhurst and Honeyhill said at the time, "I hope no one will let this once-in-a-generation offer slip through their fingers."
This is the second part of the Talking News, read by Jerry
and Imelda. And the first item is, "I wouldn't wish that place on anybody. Relatives speak out after damning care home inspection finds failings." Shocking revolution about how elderly residents are treated at Blackwater Mill residential home have poured into the county press since failings were uncovered by an inspection. 2 weeks ago, our front page featured the findings of a Care Quality Commission CQC report. The house was placed in special measures and related inadequate after it was discovered residents had been put at risk of harm, were subjects to hurtful comments from staff, and were left alone with little social or economic or emotional interaction. Since then, this newspaper has been speaking to those affected in a special investigation. Heartbreaking accounts include that of the family of 88-year-old Miriam Super. Her daughter told us, "Seeing that I've seen there, I wouldn't wish that place on anybody."
Woman hurt as driver flees. A woman suffered a head injury when a Seat Arosa car flipped over in a late-night accident. Police and an ambulance were called at 10:23 p.m. on Tuesday, responding to reports of a collision involving two vehicles at the junction of High Park Road and Arundel Road in Ryde. The passenger of the Seat, a woman in her 30s, suffered a non-serious head injury, said police. The driver of the Seat, however, left the scene. A dog went missing from the car but was later found.
Bigger charges for not paying your council tax. Islanders taken to court for non-payment of council tax could have to pay up to £128.50 in increased administration fees from next year. The Isle of Wight's Council Director of Corporate Services, Sharon Betts, has recommended an increase in 2025-6 fees for summons and liability orders to £91.50 and £31 respectively. This is despite local councils only having to pay a fee of 50p for liability order applications to the magistrates' course, according to the Housing Charity Shelter. Charges in 2024-5 were £90.50 for a summons and £34 for a liability order. Court summons are issued to bring people to court after they have failed to pay council tax, after being given reminders, and local authorities apply for liability orders to help them collect unpaid council tax using enforcement agents and benefit or earnings deduction. In documents explaining the decision, the council said, as part of the corporate plan, the administration aspires to keep the Isle of Wight Council solvent and take all the measures it can to improve the financial situation of the council and to ensure the council's expenditure is ultimately no greater than its expected income. Reviewing the liability order costs on an annual basis ensured the council is recouping the amount it is spending on the administration of liability orders and not being in a deficit position. The individual costs, which together form the administrative fees, are reviewed with finance colleagues to ensure accurate charges are included within the overall cost. The alternative to increasing the administration fee is to leave them unchanged. However, this is not a recommended course of action, as the service will be in a deficit position with regards to recovering costs attributable to the obtaining of liability orders. This would impact on council taxpayers across the board, as the costs could not be fully recovered.
Good karma for karma. Karma the dog's good luck returned after some bad luck following a car crash in Ryde on Tuesday. Emergency services were called to the crash at 10:23 p.m. after reports of a two-vehicle collision at the junction of High Park Road and Arundel Road, with one of the vehicles found overturned. Poor Karma was in the car which crashed upside down and was apparently unconscious before coming round and fleeing. A social media appeal led to volunteers from Tracker Dog, with its trusty tracker dog Merlin, showing interest in a couple of directions for a short distance, before heading down High Park Road and Great Preston Road to the fields by the industrial estate. The volunteers were helped by a drone pilot from Drone SAR for Lost Dogs Isle of Wight before Karma was located. Simon Ledger from Tracker Dogs said, "That had to be one of the hardest dog searches I've done. Volunteers from Tracker Dog team and drones at Isle of Wight conducted searches all day. Then after a potential sighting, I raced over and met up with Stu, Ben and Neil from Drone Star, and we could hear barking. I had to climb through 7-foot high galls for about 30 to 40 feet before falling into a stream. But then I saw, hiding under a log in the stream, the gorgeous Karma. We managed to get her out somehow, and she's been checked over by the vet and seems to be okay. Thanks to all the volunteers involved, teamwork definitely makes the dream work." Molly Keane, on behalf of the family, said, "Karma is home safe. The biggest thank you to Tracker Dog team and Drone SAR for Lost Dogs Isle of Wight. Myself and Karma's owners really appreciate it."
Man accused of using blade in pub attack. A man in his 50s allegedly used a bladed weapon to maliciously wound another man in a pub. Jason Stevenson of John Street, Ryde, attended the Isle of Wight Magistrates' Court on October the 15th. The 54-year-old is charged with wounding with intent and possessing an offensive weapon in public. Mr. Stevenson did not enter a plea. The incident is said to have happened on March the 24th at the Three Bishops in Bryston. Magistrates denied jurisdiction of the case, and Mr. Stevenson will appear at the Isle of Wight Crown Court on November the 18th.
Fined over noisy parrots. A woman has been taken to court due to her noisy parrots. Deborah Jill Hall, 65, lives in the quiet neighbourhood of Jordan Close in Gurnard. She admitted at the Isle of Wight Magistrates' Court without having reasonable excuse, having contravened or failed to comply with a requirement, namely abate the vocalisation of the parrots, contrary to the Environmental Protection Act from August 2023 to February 14, 2024. Monitoring had been taking place. Hill was fined £261 with a surcharge of £104.
Corroding windows cause major concern. A Shanklin charity has sought consent to replace the Grade 2 listed Shanklin Theatre very badly corroded five first-floor front windows. The Shanklin Theatre and Community Trust has said in a heritage statement to the Isle of Wight Council that issues with the Crittall-style windows are of major concern. Water is said to be seeping in through the windows and gradually further damaging the building fabric. Since 2012, some windows in the theatre, part of which date back to the 19th century, have been repaired. The Trust said, "The success of these repairs has been disappointing. In literally a few months after repair, rust is seen to grin through the powder coating, which, after having spent a considerable amount of time and money, is immensely disappointing and suggests that the lifetime of the repaired steel window is somewhat limited." Referencing replacement windows, the document has said, "We have approached a company on the mainland who produce heritage-style windows, which will be galvanised steel and powder-coated to match the existing. They will undertake a full laser survey to ensure a perfect fit, and the new steel frames will be fitted into the refurbished timber frames and glazed with toughened glass bedded in silicone neoprene." The listed building consent application has said a replacement of first-floor windows would be on a generally like-for-like basis. Replacements would not have, however, have top parts that open, one feature of the existing windows. The application additionally said there would only be 2 openings at lower level, one casement to the left-hand side and one door to the right-hand side. This would allow for ventilation and a means of escape for anyone in the room. Explaining the building's Grade 2 listing, public body Historic England said the Shanklin Theatre and Town Hall is designated for the following principal reasons. The south part of the building of 1884 is of special archaeological interest as an unaltered example of a pre-1914 purpose-built addition to a literary institute. The main 1933-34 northern part is also of special architectural interest as a rare example for this period of a provincial combined theatre and hall retaining completeness of design, including a proscenium arch, balcony, and rare survival of a foyer with original box office.
Council defends £5.4 million spend on vacant buildings. The vast majority of the £5.45 million that Isle of Wight spends on maintaining empty properties has been invested into regeneration projects, the authority has stated. The Isle of Wight Council's expenditure came to light in a study by the Taxpayers Alliance, which highlighted the cost of vacant council-owned buildings nationwide. The Island Authority's spend was the highest in the South East region, according to the study. But the Isle of Wight Council has questioned the depth of the Taxpayers Alliance research into how the money was spent. A spokesperson said a proper study of the data would present a more accurate understanding of the amount spent through the local authority. The vast majority of the spend has been over £5.4 million on regeneration projects of the Columbine Building and Victoria Barracks in East Cowes. This has been grant money from government funds for the benefit of job creation and job retention on the island. The council also said that around £45,000 has been spent on security costs to safeguard empty buildings as they are prepared for sale or repurposing.
Little Blondie causes a stir. A rare blonde squirrel spotted at Ventnor Botanic Gardens. A rare blonde squirrel has been spotted living in the gardens of a popular Isle of Wight attraction. Ventnor Botanic Garden shared photos of the unusual animal on its social media accounts, attracting attention from wildlife enthusiasts and visitors alike. Blonde squirrels, also known as leucistic squirrels, are of genetic variation of the common squirrel, marked by their pale, cream-coloured or blonde fur and dark eyes. Unlike albino squirrels, which have pink eyes and a complete lack of pigment, leucistic squirrels experience a partial loss of pigment due to a genetic condition called leucism. This rare trait makes blonde squirrels uncommon in the United Kingdom, with previous sightings mostly reported in East Anglia, Surrey and parts of southern England. A spokesperson for Ventnor Botanic Gardens expressed excitement over the discovery, saying, "We consider ourselves very lucky to see one, as they are rare and pretty hard to come by. Blonde squirrels are a special kind of squirrel with light yellow or cream-coloured fur, not the usual grey or red. Record your squirrel sightings with the White Squirrel Project."
Major access road closes after a two-vehicle crash. Two vehicles collided on the Whitwell Road near Ventnor last Friday afternoon, leading to a road closure making access into the town difficult. Ambulance, fire and police services all attended the scene of the crash, involving a blue Ford Ranger double cab pickup and a car at around 3:20 p.m. Hampshire and Isle of Wight Fire and Rescue Service assisted one adult male from one of the vehicles and said crews from Shanklin and Newport were called to a road traffic collision involving two private vehicles on the Whitwell Road near Ventnor. Firefighters assisted one adult male from one of the vehicles and passed into the care of Hampshire and Isle of Wight Air Ambulance. Crews made the scene safe and left at 4:06 p.m. The crash took place between St Lawrence Chute and Watcombe Bottom, with the road blocked near Ventnor Rugby Football Club. Upper and Lower Gillscliff Road both remained open, but the main route between Ventnor and Whitwell was shut by emergency teams. On Monday, there was another crash in almost the same spot. Officers found a red Vauxhall Corsa buried deep into a hedge. A spokesperson for the force said no injuries had been reported. The scene has since been cleared.
Accused of £160,000 fraud, pounds that is. A carpentry business owner is accused of defrauding customers for £160,000. Scott Carpenter of Quarry Road, Ryde, appeared before Isle of Wight magistrates on Tuesday. The 44-year-old is charged with 2 counts of fraud between May 2021 and November 2022. Charges include defrauding customers and dishonestly obtaining payment for materials which were not acquired. The alleged fraud totals £160,000, and the charges concern Carpenter Carpentry Business, Bespoke Company and Building Services Isle of Wight, also known as Bespoke Carpentry. Mr. Carpenter did not enter a plea and saw his case adjourned to November 19.
Sex offender who pulled knife on man close to jail. A convicted sex offender tried to ram a man's dog with his unicycle before pulling out a knife. Lawrence Marsden of Bernard Road, Cowes, pleaded guilty to causing criminal damage to a van tyre and causing harassment, alarm and distress, all against the same male victim on October the 11th. The incident took place around 5:30 p.m. while a man was walking his dog at the recreation ground near Northwood Cricket Club in Cowes. Lauren McConnell, prosecuting at the Isle of Wight Magistrates Court, said Marsden, who was walking his dog while riding a unicycle, attempted to ram the other man's dog and began shouting at its owner. The 25-year-old then gestured with his finger as he rode away from his victim and stopped to sit on a bench. The dog owner approached Marsden to discuss the unprovoked incident, but Marsden ignored him, listening to music on his headphones. When the man lifted Marsden's headphones to speak, Marsden pulled a penknife from a bag and took a photo of the man, said Mrs. McConnell. On seeing the knife, the man returned to his van, where he later heard a loud bang. Upon investigation, he saw Marsden running away. The following day, the man discovered one of his near side tyres was deflated, with damage estimated at £200. Police picked up Marsden for questioning. He admitted to pulling out the knife to scare him off and puncturing the tyre in fear of being chased. Marsden is a sex offender who was convicted last year of carrying out a sex attack on a woman and indecent acts including exposure, for which he was handed an 18-month suspended sentence order. Tom Cook, defending, said his client was deeply embarrassed about damaging the tyre and accepts his reaction to having the headphones removed was wrong. Marsden has a complicated diagnosis of his mental health issues, explained Mr. Cook. Magistrates were sufficiently persuaded not to activate the suspended sentence, but warned Marsden he came very, very close to being jailed. Marsden was ordered to pay his victim £200 compensation and was made subject to a 12-month probation order.
Child sex picks teen spared jail. A teenager paedophile caught with over 900 child sex abuse images, which he shared with like-minded individuals online, will not go to prison. He will complete unpaid work instead. Jamie O'Neill of Culver Road, Shanklin, attended the Isle of Wight Crown Court on Friday, October the 18th, for sentencing. A magistrate on July the 23rd, the 19-year-old admitted to 3 courts of possessing indecent photographs of a child and 3 further courts of distributing indecent photographs of a child. Tim Devlin, prosecuting, said police were aware that images had been sent from fake Twitter and email accounts linked to O'Neill. Officers seized various devices, including a Samsung phone, which had category A, B and C images, and 4 extreme images of child sexual abuse. On multiple devices between April the 27th and July the 15th, 2022, O'Neill had his possession 159 Category A, the most serious, 324 Category B, and 428 Category C indecent images of children, a total of 911 photos. O'Neill was 17 years old at the time of the offences. Mr. Devlin said O'Neill could face up to 3 years' imprisonment for Category A distribution. Jason Halsey, defending, said his client, who sent photos to like-minded individuals in an online chat line, did not fully understand what he was doing and had a distorted view of sexual abuse. It has been 2 years since these offences, and there have been no issues since, said Mr. Halsey, who added that his client was in a phase and experimenting. He's grown up and come a long way, but has a long way still to go, Mr. Halsey admitted. He asked Judge William Ashworth to consider a suspended sentence, as the probation service said O'Neill is not an immediate risk to the public and has a realistic chance of rehabilitation. Judge Ashworth told the court, if he were an older man, I would not waste my breath, but he's still a young man. He isn't going to do a lot of growing up in Winchester Prison, so I'm not going to send him to prison. Judge Ashworth handed O'Neill a 24-month community order to include rehabilitation and 150 unpaid work hours. He was made subject to a 5-year sexual harm prevention order.
Cached-strapped Ireland falconry left in the lurch. A falconry is without a permanent site after moving plans have been scrapped. The Falconry Experience have announced that plans to move to Butterfly World at Medina Garden Centre have been abandoned due to financial reasons. The falconry intended to move to Butterfly World this winter and asked for donations to help. The attraction has been based at the Isle of Wight Steam Railway since July 2016. The falconry is now without a permanent site, but will still continue to provide private sessions. In a statement, the Falconry Experience said, rebuilding the centre would require an estimated £30,000, making the financial transition to Butterfly World unfeasible at this time.
MP takes Commons health role. East White MP Joe Robertson has been elected to the House of Commons Health and Social Care Select Committee. Taking one of only 2 available spots for Conservative MPs, Mr Robertson will work alongside his committee colleagues to scrutinise the Labour government. The Island MP, who has experience working for a healthcare charity, aims to use his knowledge to advocate for necessary changes in the healthcare system. He said, I will use this platform to champion some of the issues that matter most to people on the Isle of Wight. Mr Robertson said his priority included increased support for family carers, improved mental health services and reforms in social care, GP practices, dentistry and hospital services. He added, the challenges in social care go beyond funding. We urgently need meaningful reform that ensures better allocation of existing resources. The first meeting will take place on Wednesday, October the 30th.
Embarrassing. Pub pledges to act on 1-star rating. Pub staff were left genuinely embarrassed after the business was slapped with a 1-star food hygiene rating. Issues ranging from out-of-date food to poor cleanliness were found at the White Lion in Knighton following an inspection on September the 3rd. An environmental health report stated that full-fat soft cheese, liquid eggs and mozzarella were past their use-by dates. Foods with reduced shelf life, such as chutney, grated cheese and mayonnaise, had been opened but were not properly labelled, making it difficult to determine whether they were safe to consume. Raw burgers, sausages and other meat products stored in the chiller and freezer were also found undated. In the walk-in freezer, there was a vacuum packed of multiple lamb shanks with a written label which stated 4/9/24 and then underneath best before 18th of July, with staff unable to advise the meaning of these dates. The inspector noted significant cleanliness issues. Dirt, food debris and grease had built up on kitchen surfaces, equipment and floors, with problem areas noted as kitchen bins, fridge and freezer seals and mould on the bar ice bucket. Structural damage to the kitchen floor, shelving and walls contributed to the difficulty of maintaining a sanitary environment. Potential cross-contamination was highlighted as a major concern. Tomatoes intended for garnishing were kept next to the blue chopping board used to prepare raw fish. Raw meat was stored next to cooked beef in the chiller, while some foods were left uncovered or stored on the floor. A follow-up inspection 2 days later on September the 5th revealed the pub had made significant improvements, including deep cleaning and repairing structural damage. Hygiene standards had also visibly improved. The pub management said that they have taken the 1-star rating very seriously. They said, "The unexpected loss of our head chef, followed by our manager at the beginning of August, presented significant challenges in staffing our kitchen. The pub has since hired a new management team and head chef." They added, "We understand that a report like this can be damaging to our business and we are genuinely embarrassed by the outcome." The pub is now awaiting a formal re-inspection and is confident of achieving a 5-star rating.
Dithering by council on road erosion. The Isle of Wight Council is failing to plan the protection of the scenic Seaview Highway Military Road, the island's former MP has said. Laying into County Hall in a public announcement on his Facebook page, Bob Seeley said it was dithering in the last few years as the panoramic thoroughfare collapses more ever closer. He said, "This month a year ago, councillors refused a planning application by Island Roads for a scheme to protect the highway from rapid erosion on the section between Brook and Hanover Point. There were reasons to oppose, although thus far it's the only scheme put forward. The question now is what has been done in the years since that refusal. Erosion brings the road ever closer to the precipice. There is no sign of urgency. It all smacks of a council bereft of any strategy to protect the military road, and even in breach of its own planning permission, the island deserves better. I am asked for rapid and equivocal assurance that it has a plan and will plan to deliver that plan." In February, Council leader Phil Jordan gave an update. "We are experiencing the real effects of geological erosion on the military road. There are 3 specific sites, the cliff top along Compton Down, Afton Down, and 2 sites between Brook and Compton Farm." Councillor Jordan said erosion between Brook and Compton Farm, sites 14 and 15, was a result of natural coastal erosion and water from the downs and chines. He maintained a potential alternative option to Island Roads, rejecting a plan to protect size 14, was to reroute this part of the road inland, something he said would ensure the future of the highway for another 20 years or more. Colonel Jordan said the council had held positive discussions with the Natural Trust, a landowner next to Military Road, and had contracted government departments for their opinion on the inland route option and the possibility of funding. The cost of rerouting works was estimated to be more than £20 million. The Isle of Wight Council was approached for further comment, but declined to comment further at this stage.
Tory leadership hopeful drops in. Conservative Party leadership hopeful Kemi Badenoch visited the island on Saturday. She went to Shanklin Conservative Club and met with Isle of Wight East MP Joe Robertson, who is in the process of setting up his office at the popular venue. Afterwards she visited White Shipyard. Former Isle of Wight MP Bob Seeley said, "Delighted that Kemi Badenoch visited the island. She put in a great performance at the Shanklin Conservative Club. Near 150 members came to listen to her. Thank you to all the members who came to hear her. This is our campaign of renewal too. Team effort. From the word go. I believe that it has been clear that Kemi is our best bet for rebuilding the Conservatives. She is a conviction politician. I have known her from the first day we entered Parliament together in 2017. She's a friend and she'll be the great leader that we need to rebuild from first principles. Kemi knows the island's issues. We discussed ferries, planning and regeneration and took her to see White Shipyard. We need to get Kemi over the line and then start to rebuild. Our party needs it, the island needs it, and above all, our nation needs it."
Whitelink invitation to hear concerns. Islanders are being invited to meet the new boss of ferry firm Whitelink and have their say on issues such as timetabling, facilities and pricing. CEO Katie Taylor and several Whitelink managers will be at Key Arts in Newport on Wednesday, October the 30th. The ferry company is hosting its latest consultation event, Meet the Team. The 2-hour drop-in session between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. will give customers the opportunity to face-to-face discussions with the managers. The head of Consumer Experiment, Sarah Howden, said, "We are looking forward to meeting islanders who travel on our 3 routes and answering their questions about our services, discounted fares such as multi-link pass tickets, and our support for Isle of Wight residents who need to travel to the mainland for national health appointments." Meet the Team events will be run as open sessions, so there is no need to let Whitelink know you're coming.
Landslip turns up unique fossils. Multiple fossils dating back over 100 million years have been discovered during the drilling of boreholes on Leeson Road. Geologists have stumbled upon the extraordinary discovery during the work on the landslip-threatened road in Bonchurch. As engineers drilled deep into the ground, boreholes as much as 130 metres below the surface unearthed fossilised remains of creatures that once thrived in a prehistoric sea. Sophie Powell, an engineering geologist with Atkins Realis, explained that the fossils discovered in the upper greensand galt clay layers date back to the lower Cretaceous period, some 100 to 112 million years ago. We have found a mixture of bivalves, brachiopods and ammonites, Sophie said. When a fossil is well preserved, it is possible to identify the scientific name of the fossil. We have managed this for a few. What we have found so far matches previous investigations in the area. Among the most exciting finds are the spiral-shaped ammonites, ancient relatives of squids and octopuses, which ruled the oceans millions of years ago. But these fossils aren't just curiosities from a bygone era. They also act as markers, revealing key insights about the rock layers beneath the surface and helping the team monitor for potential ground shifts that could lead to further landslides. Core samples taken during the drilling will allow geotechnical engineers to analyse how the land has changed and provide crucial data to prevent future disasters. The boreholes are understood to be some of the deepest ever sunk on the island.
Shoplifter fled with £66 worth of meat. An Isle of Wight shoplifter was chased down an alley after he stole a basket full of meat, a court was heard. Matthew Blanchard, of no fixed abode, attended the Isle of Wight Magistrate Court on Tuesday, October the 1st, and pleaded guilty to theft from a shop. Lauren McConnell, prosecuting, said Blanchard entered Sandown High Street Sainsbury's store at around 1 p.m. on September the 14th. A customer at the store informed a worker that the 50-year-old had left the store with a basket full of meat valued at £66, the court heard. Miss McConnell told magistrates that the worker chased after Blanchard and found him down an alleyway where the shoplifter was challenged. The basket was returned, but Blanchard made off with the meat. Later, a police patrol stumbled upon Blanchard, who spotted his bag full of meat and obtained him, Mrs. McConnell said. The items were recovered, but due to how long they were out of refrigeration, they could not be restocked, the court heard. Blanchard had 10 previous convictions for 32 offences, including 2 for shoplifting in October last year and a further 3 in August 2024. Jim Osborne, defending, said Blanchard takes full responsibility and sincerely regrets his action. Mr. Osborne said his client's troubles began when his 23-year relationship came to an abrupt end and left him homeless, isolated from his children. Things have gone downhill since then, Mr. Osborne told the court, who added that Blanchard had been sober-servicing and relying on friends to support him. Magistrates heard that Blanchard's stole to survive, but he knows he cannot continue the way it's going now. Blanchard's case was adjourned pending the complement of a new pre-sentence report. He will return to court for sentencing on December the 13th and was granted bail with condition not to enter Sainsbury's. For more short court stories, go to countypress.co.uk. For results of magistrates' court courses, go to our In the Dock section of our website.
£10 guide price home makes £30,000. A house situated on the edge of a landslip area has sold at auction for more than its £10 guide price. The semi-detached property is mere metres away from the landslip-hit Leeson Road in Ventnor. Listed through First for Auctions, the vacant 2-bedroom home was available for cash buyers only. Although close to the landslip site, the auctioneers said it had sustained only minor structural damage, but is in need of refurbishment. Internal viewings were not possible and auctioneers had not inspected the property. It had been listed with a guide price of just £10. Bidding lasted for 1 hour and 45 minutes and the property sold for £29,690. A total of 503 bids were recorded. The adjoining house is now also up for auction with a guide price of £10.
Police station open again after 10 years. A police station is set to reopen to the public for the first time in almost a decade, today, Friday. Hampshire and Isle of Wight Police and Crime Commissioner Donna Jones will officially open Ryde Police Station. Police have continued to operate from the station since its closure to the general public a decade ago. Chief Constable Scott Chilton and PCC Jones will jointly cut the ribbon at 10:30 a.m. The public are invited inside to view the new Lux station from 11 a.m. The front desk will be open Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9:30 to 3 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m.
Prolific offender attacked carers and hurled racist abuse. A prolific offender who hurled racist abuse at and assaulted 2 care workers in Shanklin has lost his liberty while he awaits sentencing in a higher court. Richard Herbert of High Street, Shanklin, appeared before Isle of Wight magistrates on Tuesday, October the 8th. The 26-year-old admitted 2 counts of criminal damage, 2 counts of assault and 2 public order offences, all racially aggravated, between October the 2nd and October the 6th. Prosecutor Lauren McConnell said Herbert had a history of violence toward care staff, and on October the 2nd his carers heard him smashing up property. He went on to throw a plate at his neighbour's door, and when 2 carers came to investigate, he started shouting and making racial slurs. The court heard he charged towards them with a clenched fist and went on to throw a pot at the same door, causing a glass panel to smash. During a separate incident on October the 6th, Miss McConnell said care staff contacted police once again, reporting Herbert had thrown further objects at the house they were staying in. Among the items he threw was a jar of tomato soup, and Miss McConnell said he made further racist remarks. The court heard Herbert, who had 25 previous convictions for 55 offences, had already been made subject of a community order imposed on June the 14th, set to run until December 2025. Barry Keel, defending, said it was clear Herbert was both challenged and challenging. He said he had a number of behavioural difficulties and significant difficulties in understanding the impact of his behaviour. Mr. Keel described Herbert as a very vulnerable individual who had a tendency to catastrophise situations. Herbert saw his case adjourned to October the 25th at the Isle of Wight Crown Court. He was remanded in custody until that date. For more court stories, go to countypress.co.uk. For more results from the Isle of Wight Magistrate Courts, look out for our In the Dock section on our website.
Prank caller laughed at the police. A woman repeatedly prank called police to tell them she was going to kill herself before hanging up and laughing at them. Jade Sandels of L'Esplanade Ride attended the Isle of Wight Magistrates Court. The 26-year-old pleaded guilty to causing wasteful employment of police and persistently making calls to cause annoyance, inconvenience, or anxiety. Lauren McConnell, prosecuting, said Sandels called 999 at 12:45 a.m. on June the 6th to inform the police she intended to kill herself. Miss McConnell told the court that a member of the public also asked police to tell them that they could see 2 females, one of whom was Sandels, at the bottom of Union Street in Ryde, calling police, pretending to cry and hanging up before laughing and calling police again. Miss McConnell said Sandels committed the offences while subject to a community order and has a history of nuisance call to the police.
And now we have white memories and nostalgia. The county press has been bringing the news to Islanders since 1884. We've delved into the archives. 125 years ago, in October 1899, the Light Railway Commissioners held an inquiry at Ryde Town Hall to discuss a proposed new light railway from Ryde to Seaview. Seaview objected to the scheme, and Lord Jersey called a halt to the debate, saying there were not sufficient public grounds for overriding their desire not to have a railway. A statutory public meeting was held at the Foresters' Hall to discuss the proposal to construct a pier at Cowes. Chairman of the District Council, A. Matthews, said that a public pier had been talked about for 20 years, and the meeting should decide once and for all whether the construction of a pier was desirable or not. A large majority voted in favour of a pier.
100 years ago, in October 1924, a farm labourer who caught his arm in a threshing machine at Nineham Farm, Binsford, died aged 47. Jacob Frank Woodford had got caught in the machine while trying to release a piece of straw that was jammed. Mr. Woodford was conscious when he was taken to hospital, but later developed septicemia and pneumonia and died.
75 years ago, in October 1949, work was proceeding at Honeyhill on the first portion of the new County Technical College, which was the biggest educational project undertaken by the island. During the construction, the engineering section of the college was given priority, given the local importance of the industry. The whole project was expected to cost around £200,000. The new headquarters of the North East White Boy Scouts Association was opened in Lynn Street in Ryde. The building was a gift of Miss F. M. Langdon in memory of her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Charles Langdon. The building contained troop, cub and committee rooms and a rover's den.
And 50 years ago, in October 1974, following protests by Ryde traders over the plan to create a pedestrian precinct in part of the High Street, Medina Borough Council's Public Works Committee added its opposition. One councillor suggested that lack of parking in Ryde would drive shoppers away. Technical Service Officer Mr. Ockemore said that it was always more difficult to find adequate parking areas in older towns when created closed areas. The Technical College underwent an important name change to become the Isle of Wight College of Arts and Technology, as it was felt that the original name no longer adequately described the scope of educational opportunities available. The original college had just two departments, engineering and building, but had grown to incorporate engineering, construction, business, general studies, food and fashion, and agriculture and horticulture.
Island hero honoured on D-Day beaches. The legacy of an Isle of Wight man is remembered at a poignant exhibition over the channel at Overlord Museum near Omaha Beach in Normandy, France. In 1937, accomplished boat designer Fred Goatley worked at Saunders Row, known locally as Sarrow, in East Cowes. In response to a War Office requirement for an assault boat, he designed the assault or collapsible boat, which had a wooden bottom and canvas sides and only took around 2 minutes to assemble. It could carry 10 men and an order for 1,000 was placed. They became known as the Goatley boats. Their space-saving capability made them an ideal choice for commando operations, being used in action at Dieppe and on Operation Aquitaine, a failed raid by 62 Commando on part of what would become Omaha Beach on the night of September the 12th, 1942. Of the 11 men who came ashore, 4 escaped, 4 were captured and 3 were killed. They were buried in the church cemetery at St. Lawrence-sur-Mer. One of the surviving Goatley boats is in pride of place in the Overlord Museum. Mr. Goatley also designed cockleshell canoes, which were utilised successfully during the Frankton raid on Bordeaux Harbour, which would have failed without them. Mr. Goatley's efforts were not fully recognised during his lifetime.
And in 2009, the county press reported on a movement to get the island hero the recognition he deserved by author Quentin Rees. He spent 8 years researching the work of Mr. Goatley, which was kept a closely guarded secret during the war years. He wrote a book, The Cockleshell Canoes, and could never understand why Mr. Goatley was not honoured for his work and was instead treated appallingly. Finally, in 2012, a memorial was unveiled in honour of Mr. Goatley in the form of a wooden frame information panel on the River Madeira near the Folly Inn. It was the 70th anniversary of the Frankton raid. The tribute was funded by the Isle of Wight Society. Mr. Goatley is buried in Kingston Cemetery, East Cowes. The story of Operation Frankton was later turned into a film, 1955, The Cockleshell Heroes, but there isn't much on record about the island's very own hero of the story.
And now we move on to My View. Opinion from Catherine James. Who's coming for a ride in your car? I bought a car the other day. It's that classic Isle of Wight registered holy grail of a vehicle, 14 years old, yet with a mere 6,300 miles on the clock, as verified by its full service history, and previously owned by that fabled old gubber who only used it locally on high days and holidays, before hanging up their ignition keys for good. Its preposterously low mileage was a big incentive, but my favourite thing about my new Mitsubishi is the console. It predates those newfangled touchscreen operating systems. Instead, it has all backlit plastic buttons and rackety dials which rotate into position with a satisfying click. I'm happy not to have a big telly in the middle of my dashboard. I don't want to have to pore blindly at its permanently illuminated display, attention distracted from the road as I attempt to scroll between sat-nav, ventilation controls and radio tuning to find the settings I seek. The government forbids us to finger our phones when driving, so how is it okay to operate an integrated touchscreen? One reason for the pervasiveness of onboard computers in modern cars is that digital controls are cheaper to install than those on physical knobs and stalks. Another more insidious reason is that collected analytics could be used to monitor driving habits. It makes a particular diligent motorist to assess the terms and conditions of their car's digital earwagging. Haulage and fleet users, plus new drivers, have long been used to black box technology. However, there has been a recent outcry in the US, which have a different data protection laws from the UK, as drivers have woken up to the fact that car manufacturers are effectively spying on them, wirelessly sending heaps of specific data known as telematics, which is shared or sold to third parties, including insurance firms, data brokers, advertisers and the government.
Owners' personal information, including that siphoned from connected smartphones, driving patterns, location tackling, and even media and analytics, which snoop at listening performances such as music genre and volume settings, are gathered. So what, you may ask? The insurance industry assures us that this harvesting of personal data could cut the cost of premiums to the motorist's advantage. However, in the tinfoil hat regions of the internet, stories emerge of American law enforcement and intelligence agencies appropriating in-car technology to treat vehicles, listen to conversation, and even to remotely slow down cars during pursuits. Could this be true? Apparently. In September, President Biden's administration called the use of Chinese-made vehicles a serious risk to national security, expounding a foreign adversary could shut down or take control of all its vehicles, all at the same time, causing crashes and blocking roads. Crikey! Emerging from this dystopian telematic rabbit hole, I'm even more delighted that my new motor is effectively analogue. I can drive around the island secure that my in-car shenanigans are not being eavesdropped on by spyware in my trap. But who's coming along for a ride in your car?
And now we have public information. Health and social care issues are my priority, by Joe Robertson. I am honoured to have been elected to the House of Commons Health and Social Care Select Committee, which scrutinises the work of the government. There are only 2 Conservative places on this cross-party committee, and I am delighted to have been chosen despite being a newly elected MP. I look forward to putting my experience of working for a national nursing charity to good use and helping to solve the pressures in social care, dentistry, GP practices and our hospitals, and ensuring the government brings forward speedy reforms. Earlier this week, Parliament debated the Employment Rights Bill, a proposed law that contains a wide variety of provisions, including substantially increasing the powers of trade unions. The Labour MPs who spoke in the debate have received combined donations of over £300,000 from the unions. I spoke from the opposition benches and raised concerns about the extra burden many of the provisions will place on small and micro businesses. The government's own economic analysis says the bill will increase costs to employers, which will be proportionately higher on smaller businesses. The bill will also increase costs in the social care sector and for the NHS. Small and medium-sized social care employers and GP practices have no headroom for any further costs. The promised social care reform and fairer funding should come first, so I voted against the bill, but it passed with Labour votes. Locally, I visited the Christmas stocking appeal at Victoria Arcade in Ryde. Stacey and her volunteers provide Christmas stockings filled with presents for children whose families have suffered financial hardship. It is a fantastic community initiative and I am pleased to be supporting it. I also met with the charity Aspire to learn more about the support they offer and see their new premises in Ryde High Street. There will be 7 accommodation units on the upper floors for women who are struggling. Last week was Flood Awareness Week, and I am working to address flooding issues that do not appear to be getting anywhere. In the last few weeks, we have seen the publication of several statutory flood reports, including for Ryde, but for recommendations from the previous report from 2021 have still not been implemented. The Brading Flood Report identifies the water levels in Brading marshes raised for bird habitats as a potential cause of flooding, which merits further investigation. It is the same issue for the flooding of Moulton Common Road. I have taken it upon myself to work with the Council, the Environment Agency and the RSPB to finally tackle the causes of the main flood areas in the East Wight and get a permanent resolution.
Cole Porter Classic sets sail. It's showtime for the Island Savoyards with their production of Cole Porter's popular comedy musical Anything Goes, setting sail this week at Shanklin Theatre. It follows the antics of passengers aboard the ocean liner SS American. Young stockbroker Billy Crocker is chasing after Hope Harcourt, a debutante he met at a party, but she's engaged to Lord Evelyn Oakley, and they're setting sail for London as is Reno Sweeney, an evangelist turned nightclub singer and very fond of Billy. Thanks to gangster Moonface Martin and his accomplished airman, Billy is able to sneak abroad to pursue Hope, but nothing goes quite to plan. With sequin sermons, mistaken identities, tap-dancing sailors, and even an escaped dog, one thing is for certain in this laugh-a-minute tale: anything goes. With director Sarah Scotcher at the helm, Andrew Woodford as musical director, and Joe Adams as choreographer, this is set to be an all-singing, all-dancing production full of laughter. The Island Savoyards are renowned for their large-scale musicals and live orchestras, professional sets and costumes, and excellent casts packed with local talent, and Anything Goes is no exception. Sarah said, "It's been a pleasure to steer the good ship SS America and its cast and crew into show week, and we can't wait to get the show in front of an audience. It's a wonderful mix of iconic numbers like It's the Lovely, I Get a Kick Out of You, Friendship and anything goes, combined with a very funny script, brought to life by our fabulous cast and crew who have worked extremely hard to make this show one that will leave our audiences smiling and tapping their toes long after they've left the theatre. Anything Goes opens at Shanklin Theatre this week with performances at 7:30 on Thursday and Friday and 2:30 p.m. performances on Saturday and Sunday. Tickets are available from www.shanklintheatre.com or by calling Shanklin Theatre box office on 01983 868 000.
And we continue with our What's On as we give you some exciting news that Robin Hill is to offer new attractions. Masses of exciting new attractions have been promised at Robin Hill as the popular attraction prepares to reopen. Now under new ownership, it has been confirmed that the park will be back open from Easter next year. Those holding membership passes will be given a series of perks, including free rides on the toboggan and discounts, as well as unlimited free entry. As previously reported, Robin Hill is now under the ownership of Islander Lee Priddle. In August, he told the county press how he planned to turn the attraction into more of an adventure park. We still want the country park feel. We want to make it a bit more extreme, a lot more activities, he said. At the time, Lee, who runs portable toilet hire firm AMP Hire Limited and also has holiday letting businesses, Swish Stays, also revealed plans for accommodation. Since taking over the park, has successfully hosted events including Warrior Festival. The car park also has car boot sales on Sundays. A Halloween event is planned, and on November the 9th it will host fireworks with Mountbatten. Supported by the Isle of Wight Festival and Isle of Wight Radio, the event promises a dazzling firework display for all ages. Fabulous fireworks, a dazzling fire show, live entertainment and our exciting fundraising challenge, Zip Fire, will all be there, Mountbatten said. Ahead of its major reopening, Robin Hill posted, "We can't wait to welcome you back and to celebrate. We are launching our early bird sparkly new membership passes for just £44.99. If you plan on visiting us more than twice next year, don't miss out on this amazing deal, available for a limited time only." The early bird passes will be available to buy on Robin Hill's website from today, Friday. Robin Hill was formerly owned by Vectis Ventures, which also owns Blackgang Chine.
Piano virtuoso to play with the Isle of Wight Symphony Orchestra. The Isle of Wight Symphony Orchestra will be joined by a renowned pianist for their upcoming concert. The concert, taking place on Saturday, November the 2nd, will feature piano virtuoso Bo Liu performing Shostakovich Concerto No. 2. Born in Shenyang, China, Bo Liu began his studies in his home country before moving to London Royal Academy of Music. Bo Liu has performed at prestigious venues such as Wigmore Hall and St Martin in the Fields. He's also taught at various institutions, including the Royal Academy of Music and Trinity Laban. The Shostakovich Concerto, composed in 1957 for the composer's son Maxim's 19th birthday, is known for its tunefulness and accessibility. The work is highly regarded and frequently features on Classic FM charts. The concert programme also includes Berlioz's Hungarian March and Gordon Jacobs' arrangement and Gustav Holst's Suite in E.B. The evening will conclude with Anton Bruckner's Symphony No. 4, Romantic. This symphony, referred as Cathedrals in Sound, showcases the orchestral's power and tenderness. Tickets cost £6.50. The concert starts at 7:15 p.m. The orchestra is supporting the Southampton and Isle of Wight Music Trust's Middleton Bursary Scheme, providing financial aid to young musicians in difficult circumstances.
New Church Male Voice Choir are presenting a Sunday afternoon concert on Sunday the 3rd of November at 3 p.m. in support of the Museum of Ryde. It's taking place at the Methodist Church, Garfield Road in Ryde, and the postcode there is PO33 3PT. They have a guest artist, Will Kent, and he will be accompanied by Tressa Lambert. Free entry with a retiring collection and a raffle, and all the proceeds will go towards supporting the Museum of Ryde.
And finally, for this section, at the Medina Theatre, we have coming soon, November the 1st, wrestling, November the 2nd, Isle of Wight Symphony Orchestra, November the 9th and 10th, Sweeney Todd, the 17th, Medina Tattoo, the 23rd of November, the Cantata Choir, the 16th of January, Paul Merston, and the 24th of January, Dazzling Diamonds. And their telephone number is 823 884.
Now we have some letters. Sylvia Dolman of Lake writes, "Please consider the animals. Dear Editor, why do people let fireworks off so early? They should be kept for November the 5th. It's so terrifying for the animals. You could give them a sedative, but it's not for one day, but any day now. It's so upsetting seeing them so upset. Our dog used to crawl behind the toilet."
And Working People, Sakir B. Clare. Sakir Starmer refers constantly in his interviews to working people. Could he please define this term? Does it include entrepreneurs who accept the risk of starting a new business, or the directors who manage Britain's 5.6 million small and medium-sized enterprises that create employment and career opportunities for 17 million people? Does he also recognise the 4 million people who are still self-employed against all the odds? Or is he referring to civil servants, state employers, or members of a union?
Avril Page from Newport writes, "Guilt over how my taxes are spent. Dear Editor, I believe in caring for older people and helping them to enjoy their retirement. After all, they have been paying for their pension and care with a lifetime of mandatory contributions from their hard-earned wages. They deserve to be comfortable and enjoy the leisure time they have been looking forward to for so long. I cannot comprehend how a Labour government can take the winter fuel allowance away from these people. Many suffer from health conditions that are worsened by the cold weather. The stress of paying fuel bills is not what they deserve, and they may not wish to beg for benefits, even if they were able to complete the online forms. Having worked hard all my life, I look forward to retirement and never had a problem with paying tax and national insurance. Now I'm worried about how I will manage when I retire and have no confidence that my pension and care will reflect all the contributions I have paid. I believe the spiralling cost of the Ukraine war is responsible for much of our country's debt and falling standards of living. It worries me that my tax contributions are ending up in that bottomless money pit, along with the 647,800 dead Russian soldiers that sadly lay at the bottom of it. Knowing that my tax has helped to pay for their deaths upset me and makes me feel a guilt that I don't deserve. The deaths of over 31,000 Ukrainian soldiers equally saddens me, but at least I do not feel guilt. Forgive my sentiment, but I am a mother, and I have no wish to fund this senseless, unwinnable war. I live in hope that President Zelensky will swallow his pride and accept one of Putin's invitations to talk peace."
A plea for full-fat milk. Dear Editor, for more than 20 years I've been buying 4-pint containers of organic whole milk from either Sainsbury's or M&S. In recent months, both stores appears to have stopped selling it, filling the space with semi-skimmed. Nobody should be drinking such rubbish as skimmed or semi-skimmed milk, which is no cheaper and lacks important nutrients, while the beneficial cream, so I am told, is exported to France. Thank goodness for Tesco and Asda, who are still selling the 4-pint containers of organic whole milk. Long may they continue to sell it. Please note, Sainsbury's and M&S, that when you stopped selling the milk, I took my custom to stores that still stock it.
Patricia of East Cowes writes, "Thank you to those who helped. On Saturday, October the 12th, about 4 p.m, I fell down the 4 steep stairs by the Rock Hotel onto the beach. Three swimmers and 5 other people came to help me and called an ambulance. I would like to say a big thank you to those people who came to help, called and waited for the ambulance to arrive, staying with me all the time. I don't know their names or their phone numbers, but I hope word gets around that I want to say a very big thank you. I hope the county press can help."
Make sure you can be seen, dear editor. Each spring when the clocks go forward, it's always most welcome. But for some reason, it's always quite a shock to when the clocks go back each autumn. Daylight saving has been a feature of our lives in the UK since 1916, when it was passed into law in order to conserve energy and increase wartime. This was largely due and campaigning of a Chislehurst builder, William Willett, whose 1907 pamphlet, The Waste of Daylight, was supported by a young Winston Churchill, among others. Willett, who is the great-grandfather of Coldplay frontman Chris Martin, enjoyed golf and other outdoor pursuits, and he realised that curtains in many homes remained drawn long after it became light outside. Sadly, he died before seeing his campaigning efforts become law. Between February 1968 and October 1971, the UK experienced with retaining the daylight saving hours and remained 1 hour ahead of GMT. However, some workers, particularly farmers, complained, and a fall in the number of evening accidents was outweighed by the increase in morning accidents. In that time, I remember having a reflected band to wear on the sleeve of my duffel coat to ensure that I could be seen walking to infant school by road traffic. With this in mind, it is a timely reminder that being seen by other road users is extremely important, especially these days, with increased traffic speed and volume. Sometimes joggers, dog walkers and their dogs, pedestrians and cyclists barely show up, even in fairly wet-lived streets, especially when wearing dark clothing. I would urge everyone to wear something reflective on gloomy days. Arm, leg and headbands are serviceable cost, and some outdoor clothes feature. Take care, be seen and be safe. And with that, we finish of reading the county press for today, and I wish you a very happy week coming up. Hope the weather doesn't rain every day, but bye-bye from Imelda.
And goodbye from Jerry.
The BBC In Touch programme follows, and the scaffolding news follows that.
Newsletter Autumn 2024, your local sight loss charity. Spotlight on Sylvia, meet volunteer Jerry. Member activities, disabled persons rail card, pavements, fundraising activities, short story writing competition award ceremony, dress for less, plus much more. Charity number 1149415, company number 06240404. Front cover shows a photograph of our member, Sylvia.
Hello and welcome to our autumn newsletter. I'm sure you will find many articles and tips to help and entertain you. I always find there is so much useful information within these pages. For example, the app for station train times and how to apply for a disabled rail card. The Streets Ahead report by the Guide Dogs Association is very timely, as there has been such an increase in street furniture and parking on pavements. Our weekly and monthly activities are all active again. and I would like to thank all the volunteers who make them viable. We're always keen to find more volunteers, and Dress for Less has an open day in November. So if you're interested, please come along and you will be made very welcome. Our short story writing competition awards evening in December is always so entertaining. Our mystery judges are looking forward to reading all of the entries, and our celebrity readers await the winning stories. Closing date for entries is Friday the 1st of November 2024. There is always help available, and this is why our newsletter is so valuable. Just in this issue, it gives advice on grants to help with gas and electricity debt, wireless for the blind, individual technology solutions, and also applying for pension credit. And please don't forget to order your 2025 diaries so that you can keep track of all our events. My grateful thanks, as always, to our marvellous staff and their informative updates, our volunteers who so generously give their time to raise funds and to make events so successful, and also to the trustees, whose support and time is so freely given.
This is Lisa reading the CEO update. Welcome to our newsletter, which has grown again to 48 pages. When I took over, it was 32 pages. It always pleases me that there is so much to include. I sincerely hope it is a worthwhile publication. Please save the date for our volunteers update on the 19th of November here at Millbrook House, when we will be showing our new volunteer leaflet designed to attract new volunteers to our charity, and we will also be there to thank our current volunteers. Also, on Friday the 29th of November, we have our lunch at the Isle of Wight College, and on the 11th of December, our mulled wine and mince pies here at Millbrook House. We have our next White Sense feedback and catch-up meeting at 11:30 on the 27th of November, and for Sight for White on the 4th of December at 11 a.m. We would be delighted to see as many people as possible at these events. Included in this newsletter are a few articles on new tech. Hearing glasses in Karen's update, seeing glasses in the Ray-Ban Smart Glasses update, free Alexa and DAB devices in the Wireless for the Blind article, and free iPhone and Samsung phones and tablets included in the Individual Tech Solutions article, and finally, kitchen gadgets included in Karen's update. There are also tips on how to reduce the cost of rail travel, together with articles on both glaucoma and macular degeneration. As always, any feedback on our newsletter is very welcome. Thank you, Lisa.
Member activities. Weekly. By appointment. We have Sam on hand to give one-to-one help with accessibility features on your computer, laptop, tablet or phone. It is essential you pre-book, so please call ahead. Please note, we will help as much as we can, but if you are looking for lessons on how to use a computer, then please contact us for Age UK course dates.
Monday. Swimming at Medina Leisure Centre, Newport, term time only, between 1:15 p.m. and 2 p.m. The cost is £6 and £2.50 local transport Newport area, but £3.50 for wider transport, e.g. Ryde area.
Tuesday, yoga at Millbrook House between 1:45 p.m. and 2:45 p.m. Come along and try gentle yoga. Just £4, which includes refreshments.
Wednesday, coffee and chat at Millbrook House between 10 a.m. and 11:30 a.m. All are welcome to join us for coffee and cake. The cost is £2 and the group is open to everyone. We have regular visitors to this group, for example, the ECLO, the Macular Society and many others.
Thursday, mix and mingle at Millbrook House between 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. planned activities including crafts, quizzes and entertainment. The cost is £4 plus £3.50 for transport if required. Pre-booking is essential.
Fortnightly tennis is held at Ryde Mead Tennis Club on a Monday between 9:30am and 10:30am. Volunteers of the club are on hand to assist. This is weather dependent.
Monthly groups. First Tuesday of the month, Godzill Coffee Morning, 10:30am to 12pm, held at the Old Smithy Coffee Shop, Godzill. Volunteers Yvonne and Linda will be on hand to chat every month.
First Thursday of the month, audio book group held at Lord Louis Library, Newport, between 2pm and 3pm. This group is free to attend. You will receive a digital copy, USB stick or CD, and the group will discuss the book at the following meeting.
Monthly on a Friday, walk and talk group, as an alternative to Striders, involves a walk of around 2 miles. For more details, please call Susan. As with all walks, we offer one-to-one help. The cost is £4 plus £3.50 for transport.
Last Friday of the month, Striders is for members who enjoy walking. The walk is normally between 4 and 6 miles, depending on the route and location. The cost is £4 plus £3.50 for transport. Please contact Susan.
Last Sunday of the month, golf at Westridge Golf Centre, Ryde. Members enjoy 45 minutes with a professional instructor, available to help the complete novice. To those playing regularly, it is usually the last Sunday of the month, but always call the office to confirm. The sessions are run by Mark. Our members really enjoy them. Mark said, everyone enjoys this outside activity and find the golf club and professional help to be really engaging. It's a very light-hearted atmosphere with friendly chat and banter. Clubs are provided and no special clothing is required.
Art with Maddie. These lessons are held at the Parkland Centre, Park Road, Cowes, between 10am and 12pm on the second Wednesday of the month. The cost is £10, which also includes all materials. Maddie, the tutor, is also VI and a fantastic teacher.
Tandem bikes have arrived. We are very fortunate to now have 3 electric assisted tandem bikes for our members to enjoy. We have recruited some pilots and will be in touch with anyone who has put their name forward to arrange a suitable time for a trip on the open roads or a gentle ride along the cycle tracks.
Ion social dates are Tuesday the 22nd of October, where we will be entertained by Steve Love singing songs about the Isle of Wight. Please come along, this is open to everyone, so bring along friends and family for an enjoyable afternoon. Just £3, which includes refreshments. November's Ion Social is lunch at the Isle of Wight College on the 29th. Details of menu etc. to be confirmed.
Christmas raffle. I know it seems very wrong using the Christmas word, but enclosed with your newsletter are your raffle tickets, should you wish to purchase them. They are priced at £1 each, and you can buy them by calling the office to make a card payment, sending us a cheque, or by using our bank details, which are included in the covering letter. When we are collecting our raffle prizes from local island companies, it is so inspiring how well known we are and that people are so willing to donate prizes to us.
Raffle Square for Luxury Harrods Bear. This year we have been donated a beautiful Harrods 2024 Christmas bear. He sits at 50 centimetres and has luxury soft fur. We are raffling him off on a square raffle at only £2 per square. The draw will take place on the 11th of December during our open Christmas morning. Please call 522205 or pop into Millbrook House if you'd like to purchase a square.
Volunteer update. As always, I would like to welcome all our new wonderful volunteers to this newsletter, especially our new tandem pilots who have given their time for training and now waiting to take our members out for a ride. We are very fortunate to have so many volunteers who enable us to support our members through activities, services and events, as well as work within our fabulous dress agency shop. Although August is always a shutdown for groups, our volunteers are kept busy with talking news, audio library, Dress for Less and fundraising team. Thank you for your continuous support in all aspects of the charity. One highlight of the summer was once again taking part in the Newport Carnival, winning 3rd place in community walking groups. This was an enjoyable evening, so thank you to everyone who volunteered to make sure we could participate. A date for your diary is the 19th of November for our volunteer catch-up at Millbrook House between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. This is an opportunity for volunteers to meet one another and enjoy coffee and cake. As always, if anyone would like to volunteer or know someone who has time on their hands, we are always looking for new recruits, especially in our education programme, Talking News team, Dress for Less shop, striders, swimming assistants, drivers and minibus drivers and escorts. Please let me know if you have a friend, neighbour or relation who is looking at volunteering. We will always welcome them and have plenty of opportunities to fit around people's time and commitment. Call me today on 522205. Susan, volunteer.
Newsletter article Wireless for the Blind, read by Paula. Wireless for the Blind give radios and other audio devices for free and for life to people living with severe sight loss. Their easy-to-use apps and skills unlock a world of audio content, both on standalone devices and internet-enabled ones too. Audio content can be a vital way to keep people in touch and connected with their communities, passions, and the wider world. To be eligible, you need to be living with sight loss and receiving PIP, DLA or AA, or a means-tested benefit such as pension credit. Recently, they have vastly extended what they are able to offer. The range now includes the following devices available: Concerto 3, CD, DAB radio and USB, Alexa Echo, Dot, Show or Pop, L'Amiga DAB FM radio, small pocket sized, Play 11 and Play 20 digital radios, Relish DAB radio with headphone socket and USB, Roxel NOD bedside digital radio and alarm clock, Roxel RDR80 DAB radio with alarm, battery or mains, Synaptic USB player. For more information, contact Karen at White Sense, who can sponsor your application and help complete it.
Individual Technology Solutions. Formerly Telephones for the Blind, Individual Technology Solutions aims to give people living with sight impairment access to technology by offering telephones and tablets to those who otherwise could not financially afford the technology. The devices with airtime packages are offered free of charge to the user. The criteria: be a resident in the UK, be registered with your local authority as blind, severely sight impaired or partially sighted, sight impaired. Have savings of less than £10,000, be in receipt of a means-tested benefit, e.g. income support, pension credit, housing benefit, council tax support, income-related ESA, income-related job seekers allowance, working family tax credit and universal credit. Successful applicants may not apply again within a 3-year period. If you meet all of the eligibility criteria, your application must then be sponsored by a recognised sponsoring officer, such as a support worker, social worker, rehabilitation worker, or other suitable professional working in the sight loss sector. White Sense can be that sponsoring officer. Finally, you must have someone who can show you how to use the device. Sam, from Sight for White, can be that person offering one-to-one tuition. What they provide: Samsung A14 with or without synaptic, Apple iPhone SE, Blind Shell Classic 2, Samsung A8 tablet with or without synaptic and or SIM, Apple iPad 8th generation 32GB Wi-Fi or SIM, BT Landline. The application process is online, which of course we can help with and offer the sponsorship and training needed. Please contact Karen on 522205 and she can take this forward with you.
Feedback and chat 2025 dates. Open meetings with everybody welcome to give us feedback on the services we offer and hear the latest charity news and plans. Sight for White, Wednesdays 11am. 26th of March 2025, 25th of June 2025, 24th of September 2025, 3rd December 2025. White Sense Wednesdays 11:30am, 12th of March 2025, 11th of June 2025, 17th of September 2025 and 26th of November 2025.
VIP Diaries 2025. £6.50 A6 Pocket Diary 2025. 105 by 148 millimetres or 4.1 by 5.8 inches. The cover is bright yellow, ring bound with a VIP emblem and words large print Pocket Diary 2025. Our most popular item, perfect for pocket or handbag. Also a super stocking filler gift at Christmas. Each double page shows one full week and has perforated corners to help keep track of days.
£8.50 A5 MIDI Diary 2025. 148 by 210 millimetres or 5.8 by 8.3 inches. Cover is bright yellow, ring bound with VIP emblem and words large print MIDI Diary 2025 in large clear bold print. Each double page shows one full week and has perforated corners to help keep track of days.
£10.50 A4 Desk Diary 2025. 210 by 297 millimetres or 8.3 by 11.7 inches. Bright, easy read yellow cover with VIP emblem and bold large print Desk Diary 2025. Each double page shows one full week and has perforated corners to help keep track of days. Ring bound and with notes section included each week.
£8 A3 Portrait or Landscape Calendar 2025. 297 by 420 millimetres or 11.7 by 16.5 inches. Each page shows 1 month and includes UK public holidays. The back page contains a forward planner. Please contact the office to order your diaries and calendars for next year. Our order will be placed on the 22nd of November.
Christmas cards. We are delighted to see the return of our charity Christmas cards again. This year priced at our 2023 price of £3.50 for a pack of 10 good quality cards with envelopes. We have 9 designs available, but there is a limited number of each.
Foot Care by Hayley. Hayley has kindly offered our members foot care, including toenail cutting, hard skin removal, callus and corn treatment, etc. Foot cream is then applied with a soothing foot massage. Hayley will be at Millbrook House on a Thursday. If you'd like to make a booking, then please call Susan on 522205. The cost is £25.
Crystal Clear Ears by Leanne. With the NHS no longer offering ear care services, Leanne has kindly offered her services to our members, including both earwax removal by microsuction and ear irrigation. Microsuction. This technique employs a specialised device to vacuum away unwanted earwax with precision and accuracy. It is a swift and virtually painless procedure that ensures sound can travel unobstructed to your eardrums. Irrigation. In instances where irrigation is necessary, we utilise a delicate irrigation method to eliminate any residual debris. This procedure involves a regulated stream of warm water to thoroughly clean your ears, ensuring a clear and open auditory experience. Appointments are available at Millbrook House or in your own home from £50. Please contact Susan for details.
Deafblind Support Officer. New equipment. September saw our open day, which this year was held at the Riverside Centre. There were a couple of exciting new items of equipment on display that I'd like to tell you about. The first is a new phone, the Gmark CL9004G. This phone doesn't need to be plugged into the telephone socket as it works on a mobile network and requires a nano SIM card. It has the feel of a landline phone without the need for a landline. This phone also comes with an SOS bracelet, and the LED screen has a white background and 3 one-touch programmable buttons as well as an emergency SOS button. It is hearing aid compatible and also has a tone control. The other exciting new piece of equipment are artificial intelligence enabled smart glasses for the hearing impaired. These glasses have instant speech to text, which appears in green in the right hand lens. You are able to read in real time what is being spoken. These pair with Android and iOS mobile phones, and for an extra cost you are able to have them with your prescription. The phone is available from Sarabec and the glasses from Vision Aid. We can order these on your behalf to allow you to try them first. Karen, Deafblind Assessor.
Newsletter article Charity Ball, read by Paula. On Saturday the 27th of July, Medina Lodge number 35 held a charity ball in Cowes to raise money for Sight for White, which is their chosen charity this year. There was a fabulous cabaret of Tony Mears and his wife Julie Wilson, who entertained with songs from the 60s and 70s. With only 40 people in attendance, they still raised £400 as Tony and Julie gave their time for free.
Charity of the Year. We are the Isle of Wight Vintage Motorcycle Club Charity of the Year, and we're invited to join them in St Thomas Square on Saturday the 21st of September, amongst their display of over 70 bikes to raise awareness of our charity. Our CEO was the first to get on the back of one of these beautiful machines and hopes to go out for a ride soon.
This is Lisa reading grants to help people clear gas and electricity debts. Individuals and families that are prepayment meter customers can apply for grants of up to £2,000 to clear domestic gas and electricity debts. The individual and families administered by British Gas Energy Trust provides British Gas and non-British Gas customers with debt on a prepaid meter with a grant to clear outstanding arrears with their energy suppliers. The fund is available to customers that have energy debt of up to £2,000 and use a prepayment meter, live in England, Scotland and Wales, have not received a grant from the British Gas Energy Trust within the last 2 years, They are seeking a grant to clear an outstanding debt on a current open gas, electricity or dual fuel account in their own name. They have electricity and or gas debt. They must be facing fuel poverty and have received help from a money advising agency. However, customers of E.ON, E.ON Next, EDF, Scottish Power, SSE and Octopus should apply directly to their own suppliers. The fund will close when the funds have run out. Ray-Ban sunglasses, a member question. Smart glasses are growing in popularity and AI features with, for example, the hearing glasses featured in Karen's article, where the microphone on the glasses pick up speech and display it in the right lens of the glasses. Superb for those living with hearing loss. But for someone like me with both sight and hearing loss, the text is just too small to stand any chance of reading it. This said, the glasses for those with enough functional vision, they are a huge step forward. If you would like a demonstration of them, then please do contact us and we can arrange this. Moving on to the Ray-Ban smart glasses for VI people. They are a pair of glasses or sunglasses, which you can put your own prescription in, with a camera, speakers and microphones. You can voice control all of the features. In the US, but not yet in the UK unfortunately, you can also activate AI features. More on this later in the article. However, you can run a VPN on your phone to give yourself a US IP address, fooling the glasses to thinking that you are in fact in the US, and therefore you can access these features. If this paragraph is double Dutch to you, Lisa, I can explain it to you. So how useful are they? Audio. You can listen to anything on your phone through the speakers in the arms of the glasses. If you keep the volume sensible, you can still hear what is going on around you, but no one else can hear what you are listening to. Yes, if you do put them at full volume, others around you can hear you. This is something you should bear in mind if you're on a call. Therefore, you can make calls, listen to music, and hear notifications. All these are voice activated, meaning less screen intervention is needed. Live streaming. Users can share their experience in real time by live streaming to social media. However, probably more relevant is that the Be My Eyes app is also fully integrated, and I think this is where the glasses could really come into their own for VR users. Users can share their live view from the glasses with a volunteer through the app, and they can literally then be your eyes. Of course, you could just video call friends and family instead. Meta AI. Users can ask Meta AI when they're looking at to, for example, find their house, send messages, translate speech into English in real time. These are features that will currently only work in the US unless you have a VPN to disguise your UK IP. With AI, the potential is huge. You could, for example, be looking at a tube map and say, "Hey Meta, find route to Wimbledon." And the reply, "Take the Northern Line 4 stops." Of course, it knows where your current location is, so you can give you accurate instructions. Wow. Some facts. They come with sunglasses lenses, clear or prescription lenses. They start from $329 plus a prescription charge if needed. You need a smartphone with a Meta app to use the glasses, and they need Wi-Fi all of the time. You charge the glasses in their case and they should last 4 hours. The case will charge them between 8 and 9 times before the case itself needs recharging. Each glasses charge takes around 75 minutes. They have a 12 megapixel camera and 5 microphones. The Android Envision app works with the glasses too.
Festive fun. Join us at Millbrook House for mince pies and mulled wine. Wednesday the 11th of December 2024, 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. We will be drawing our annual Christmas raffle and announcing the winner of the Harrods Bear 2. Please RSVP on 52205 by Friday the 6th of December.
Short Story Writing Competition Award Ceremony 2024. I am delighted to inform you our annual Short Story Writing Competition Award Ceremony will be on Friday the 6th of December at 7 p.m. at the Riverside Centre, Newport. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. It is with great pleasure that I can announce the return of the fabulous Solent singers who were superb at last year's awards ceremony. We have a newcomer to this year's lineup as Baron Fortitude, who I saw perform at the Ventnor Fringe this year with his unique comedic talent as a Victorian rapper. A very funny guy, so even if you haven't entered the competition this year, you are more than welcome to come along just for the entertainment. It is always fun, festive and free to attend. There is still time to enter the competition as the closing date is Friday the 1st of November. A reminder that our celebrity readers this year are Chesney Hawkes, Joe Pasquale, Richard Cadell, Steve Power and Selena Ross. There will also be a raffle, so please come along and help us celebrate our annual event and enjoy some free entertainment. Chris, Centre Manager.
Education update. Since the last education update, we went to Bryston Primary before all the schools had their break for the summer holidays. Now the schools have started back again, I have been in contact to promote the education programme again. So far, St Mary's and Broadley Primary would like us to return. In the summer holidays, we have been asking judges to choose the winners of the Hat and Sunglasses Day. We asked all primary school children to design their own pair of sunglasses and or hat, and we had over 200 entries, which was brilliant. So a big thank you to all the children and schools that entered the competition and supported us by taking part. As prizes, we are mocking up their designs and presenting them to the winners. Key Stage 1 hat winner, Myra 6, Key Stage 1 sunglasses winner, Dakota 6, Key Stage 2 hat winner, Annie 8, Key Stage 2 sunglasses winner, Joel 9.
Newport Recorded Music Society meets fortnightly on a Monday from 2 p.m. at Millbrook House. At each meeting, members and occasionally visitors present their choice of music, usually consisting of classical pieces, but by no means always. Their meeting group is small and they make any newcomers feel very welcome. They enjoy 2 hours of music with half an hour interval for refreshments and chat. The cost is £4 per meeting and £5 yearly membership. Please feel free to come along and give the meeting a try. If you require further details, please call 524 001.
Live train board. When travelling by train, if like me, Lisa, if you cannot read the information boards, you can get them on your mobile phone. This shows you all train departures from that station rather than looking for one specific train. Many people have found this very useful. You can find this at www.traintimes.org.uk/live. To go to a specific station, add the station code, for example, Waterloo is WAT, at www.traintimes.org.uk/live/WAT.
This is Lisa reading Rail Travel, a member question. You may not be aware that as a hearing aid user, you could be eligible to purchase a disabled person's rail card. This provides a third off most rail travel and an adult companion on the National Rail Network at any time of the day. This does include Island Line. To qualify, just ask your audiologist for a copy of your hearing test and apply at www.disabled-persons-railcard.co.uk. You can also get your discount loaded onto an Oyster card to save a third on single, peak or off-peak travel pay-as-you-go fares in London Underground. Those living with sight impairment are also entitled to purchase a disabled person's rail card and can take full advantage of the following concessions when travelling with a companion. However, without a rail card, by taking proof of your visual impairment, your CVI or BD8, and purchasing your tickets at a station, you can attract these same discounts without a rail card. They are first class/standard class singles or return 34% off, first class/standard class anytime day singles 34% off, first class/standard class anytime day returns 50% off. Season tickets. You can also buy one adult season ticket that enables a companion to travel with you on national rail services at no extra cost. so 2 people travel for the price of 1. It doesn't have to be the same person travelling with you every time. For those who are wheelchair bound, the above discounts can also be gained if you stay in your chair for the journey.
Member question: how can I measure ingredients for my cakes? We currently have in our equipment room various tools and appliances to assist you in the kitchen. For measuring out your ingredients, we have talking scales, measuring spoons, easy read and talking jugs. For preparing food, we have easy grip peelers, bottle openers, non-slip mats, can and jar openers. We also have long-length gauntlet gloves to protect you from heat when getting items in and out of the oven. There is a talking temperature probe, recordable tin lids, and pegs to assist you with arranging items in the kitchen. We also have a talking microwave that we can demonstrate. There are various other items available to order, including talking hobs and talking air fryers. If you are interested in any of our pre-loved items that we have for sale, please contact me to arrange an appointment to come and view. Also, Peter and Emma, our rehabilitation officers, can also assist with cooking skills within your own kitchen. If you feel this would benefit you, please contact the sensory team at White Sense on 01983 240 222. Karen, Member Support.
Hello, my name is Jerry Thornton and I'm a volunteer for Sight for White. I was born in Aveley in Essex, and at the time Aveley was a small village, but now it borders the huge shopping complex known as Lakeside. As a child, I always enjoyed fiddling with electronics and naturally assumed that this would be my chosen career. However, upon leaving school, I joined a large insurance company in London, and my career took me down the path of computing, computer systems design, and eventually an IT consultant. I was made redundant from my London job in 2008, and I decided to set up a community interest company teaching computing to the over 50s. This would range from sending an email, creating a spreadsheet, learning to order shopping online, etc. And it turned out to be very successful. I still teach one lady, aged 94, who had never used a computer before, and after 10 years she can now do more on a computer than many people can much younger than her, including creating animations and putting them to music. I met my wife Billy when we both worked for the same company in London. We lived in Leigh-on-Sea in Essex for 35 years and we're blessed with 2 boys. As a family, we joined a local amateur dramatics group, and over the years I have appeared in numerous shows and pantomimes, even playing a dame on several occasions. In later years, I worked at a Baptist church in Leigh-on-Sea, where I was responsible for caring for the elderly and organising coffee mornings, day trips, etc., as well as visiting people in their own homes. In 2010, I was chosen with a group from the church to go to India to help with the street children in Calcutta. This involved doing craft work in the schools and generally working alongside the children. The most humbling moment was when a young child, dirty and clearly with very little possessions, offered me to share his only biscuit. He was such a happy child, and I came back to England with a real wake-up call. We had a holiday home in Shanklin, and for 20 years we spent as much time as possible on the Isle of Wight before eventually moving permanently to Bryston last year. Both Billy and I were always keen to help in the community, and we now both help with the National Trust. I felt, though, that I would like to use my other skills, so when I saw an advert for Sight for White in January 2022 looking for volunteers to help read and record the talking news, I knew this was exactly how I could help. In my spare time, I can also be found church bell ringing. I learned to ring 8 years ago, and many of my evenings are now spent at various towers on the island ringing the bells and also ringing for weddings and funerals. Another love of mine is the theatre. Both of our now grown-up children are actors, so there's always an excuse to go and see another show, and I love supporting both boys up and down the country. Only last month we travelled to Pitlochry in Scotland to see our son in 3 different shows. We made the most of our time there by finding a lovely walk to a waterfall and seeing the salmon, deer and the Highland cows. However nice it is to be away on holiday, it is always lovely to come back to our beautiful island. I really enjoy my time volunteering with Sight for White. Everyone is so friendly and kind, and it really is such a wonderful charity. I'm grateful for the opportunity to help wherever I can, and I hope to meet many more of you very soon.
Tips for members. I bought a talking colour detector, which is a handheld device that can help me identify colours around me. I switch it on, then point it to an object I want to know the colour of, and it will speak and let me know the colour. This helps me know what colour clothes I am wearing every day. Cannot believe I did not know this existed. Ronald from Ventnor. I kept missing the toothbrush when I was trying to squeeze the toothpaste onto it. I found it much easier to squeeze the toothpaste straight into my mouth. Stephen from Freshwater. For people who like their puzzles, crosswords and games like me, you can get large print puzzle books. You can also get other games which have been changed to be more helpful, such as Braille cards and Braille Scrabble. You can also use tactile dominoes. Lucy from Lake. If you have any tips to include in our newsletter, please let us know.
Pavements. Guide Dogs Report. Guide Dogs Streets Ahead campaign is focused on making streets and outdoor public places more accessible for people living with a visual impairment. The campaign encompasses 3 main areas: shared surfaces, pavement parking, and street clutter. Shared spaces. Shared surface streets, sometimes called a level surface, are where the road and pavement are built at the same level, removing the curb so that cars, buses, cyclists and pedestrians share the same surface. In some cases, controlled crossings, pelican crossings, are also removed. Shared surface streets are dangerous for people with a vision impairment, resulting in guide dogs campaigning against them, identifying these key concerns. You have to make eye contact. Pedestrians, motorists and cyclists have to make eye contact to decide who moves first. This obviously compromises the safety, independence and confidence of people living with a vision impairment. People rely on the curb. People with a vision impairment, particularly guide dog owners and long cane users, use the curb as a navigation tool to know where they are in a street or indeed the road. Pavement parking. When cars are parked on pavements, people with a vision impairment may have to risk their lives by walking into the road just to get by them. This is an issue that also impacts parents with prams, wheelchair users, older people and many others. A survey by Guide Dogs showed 90% of those had experienced trouble with a pavement parked car. A YouGov survey from January 2013 showed that over half of motorists had considered the problems pavement parking would cause to pedestrians, but had chosen to do so regardless. A standardised law across the country would make it clear that pavement parking should be the exception, not the norm for motorists, and give local authorities real power to properly tackle this problem. We want a clear law where drivers cannot park on the pavement unless in a specifically designated area in line with Greater London. Street clutter. Guide Dog survey last year showed that 97% of people with a vision impairment have problems with street clutter, such as shop advertising signs, A-boards, and street cafe furniture, which are littered across the pavement. A clearer high street where obstacles like A-boards and cafe furniture are placed consistently, leaving plenty of room for pedestrians to walk past, not only makes it a safer place for people with sight loss, but also a nicer, more inviting place for all shoppers. Let's watch to see how their campaign unfolds.
Newsletter article When to Seek Urgent Help, read by Paula. Eye conditions come in all shapes and sizes. When a patient has irritation, pain or soreness, it can be difficult to know whether the situation is a mild inconvenience or an eye emergency requiring urgent medical care. Eye emergencies are time sensitive. They require a quick and proper treatment. If left untreated, a patient may risk permanent damage and/or vision loss. There are a range of scenarios and eye conditions that may require emergency eye care. These include, but are not limited to, severe cuts and scratches, chemical burns, foreign objects, severe eye pain, sudden changes in vision, new incidences of floaters or flashing lights. In all of these scenarios, a patient should seek optical urgent care and under no circumstances should delay treatment through the Isle of Wight Community Urgent Eye Care Services, or CUES, who provide urgent assessment, treatment or referrals. Do not go to your GP. Instead, contact your local optician and they will help you. If you are ever in doubt, call 111 and confirm there are sudden changes and you need to be seen by someone. Be wise, protect your eyes.
Are you interested in sailing? We are offered opportunities to go sailing with various charities and open days, mainly throughout the summer months. These days are sometimes short notice and therefore, if you are interested in joining either sailing or motorboat days out, please do let Susan know so we can have a contact list of people interested to call when these days are offered to us. Further, if you're looking for a regular group to join, then again, do let us know and we can see if we can find you one.
Golf. Are you interested? One Sunday a month, we hire lanes on the driving range at Westridge Golf Club for our members. Included is a professional golf player to teach people of all levels on a one-to-one basis. This group of golfers, accompanied by Saritha, one of our trustees, really enjoy their games and always stay for a cup of tea and a piece of cake after the game. In summer months, they also venture out onto the course, with support always on hand for every member. For all activities, please contact Susan on 522205. Spotlight on Sylvia. I was born Sylvia Warner in Greenwich, London on the 11th of April 1940. And this was during the Second World War and throughout the Blitz. I was taken down to the air raid shelter. My father was a lookout for fires, and at 36 there was an explosion that spun him along the roof. It didn't kill him, but he sadly died in hospital soon after the event. Shortly after this tragedy, at 18 months, I developed double pneumonia and pleurisy, where I was admitted to Kidbrooke Hospital, who saved my life. I left school at 15 and started my first job as an office junior with a company called Johnson & Phillips, where I was able to use my shorthand and typing skills. I then went on to become a typist for AEI, where I was to meet my future mother-in-law, who was German, and married her son Kurt Hein. I have 2 sons, Paul and Stephen. We lived in Greenwich, where Kurt worked for Freshfield Solicitors as a graphic designer and printer in the print section. As my 2 boys grew up, I took on various jobs, including a school dinner lady, working in local shops, a typist for the Metropolitan Police in Greenwich, and an admin officer for Catford Police. At 52, we moved to Hereford, where we bought a stable and converted it into our house. I would get involved as a builder's mate, and I was a dab hand at using a cement mixer and a natural for climbing up and down ladders. Once the house was built, I went on to work for Learminster Hospital as a clerk, working in various factories to pay the bills. I retired at 60 and volunteered with various charities such as Echo for adults and Leominster Special School for children and adults. I moved to the Isle of Wight in 2013 and became a member of Sight for Wight in the same year. I'm a regular at the Thursdays Mix and Mingle social group, which is a lifesaver to do a lot of visually impaired people, as there are activities, quizzes, entertainment, sing-alongs and talks. We have so much fun and the staff and volunteers are so friendly and welcoming. I also go out every Friday and get involved with singing and dancing at the Isle of Wight Arts. I really love living on the Isle of Wight, and apart from my own family, I feel I have 3 more families: Mix and Mingle, Isle of Wight Arts, and my local Tesco's in Lake, as the staff are just so lovely.
Prostate Cancer Support Group. 1 in 7 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. Prostate cancer kills more men than any other cancer in the UK. A man dies from prostate cancer every 40 minutes in the UK. That's over 13,000 every year. Early diagnosis is the key to successfully treating prostate cancer. On the Isle of Wight, over 300 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer every year, which is one of the highest rates in the UK. Back in 2011, a small band of travelling patients attending treatment at QA Hospital realised by supporting each other they could overcome the heartache and challenges of this illness, and by supporting others who were also on this prostate cancer journey, they could help them. From this idea, the IWPCSG was formed. Now 10 years later, they organise regular PSA tests, a monthly newsletter, man an informative support stand at various functions, have monthly support group meetings with informative, knowledgeable guest speakers, have a library of prostate cancer information on their website, and run a Facebook page for communications between members. They are here to help men and their families through the nightmare of diagnosis, the trauma of treatment, and the mental anguish of aftercare. Not by having medical expertise, but by our knowledge of living through the experience of prostate cancer themselves. Talk to the people who have been there. Contact them on their general inquiries number 07856 606 197. That's 07856 606 197. Or email secretary@iwpcsg.org. That's secretary@iwpcsg.org. They are there to support you. For advice and information about PSA testing, contact them on 07568 245 124. That's 07568 245 124. Or email iwpcsg@gmail.com.
Apprentice VRS. What is macular degeneration? This is an eye condition caused by the deterioration of the central part of the retina at the back of the eye, called the macula. This is known as age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. The retina contains thousands of photoreceptor cells, mainly rods, which help us see in dim lighting. The macula contains a high concentration of cones. These are responsible for the colour we see. The macula is also responsible for focus and clarity of an image. This works best in well-lit conditions or environments. There are 2 types of AMD. Dry. This can take a long time to develop. At its worst, you can have a large dark patch in the centre of your vision. This doesn't affect the peripheral vision, but the person could find it very difficult to read anything or recognise people's faces. This affects the outer layers of the retina. Or wet AMD. Most people will have the dry type first before developing the wet AMD. You may need regular eye injections to try to slow down the progress of the condition. Wet AMD can develop suddenly, but it can now be treated if caught quickly, and this is why a fast referral to a hospital specialist is essential. Treatment. Both types of AMD are progressive, and there is no known cure. For dry AMD, vision aids can help reduce the effect on your life, and for wet AMD, injections and very occasionally a light treatment called photodynamic therapy can slow down its progress. Symptoms. Everyone's symptoms are individual, but these are more common. It can be harder to see details and small print. It can cause vision to be blurred or distorted. For example, straight lines will look wobbly like door frames and windows. There can be dark or grey patches in the central vision. Colour could be misinterpreted, needing brighter lights to see, or having trouble recognising faces. Diagnosis. You can see your local optician specialist, called an optometrist, who may refer you to the retinal specialist at the hospital and seen soon after. If you feel your sight has deteriorated recently, please do contact Laura, our local eye clinic liaison officer, or ECLO, who will be more than happy to offer advice and support on 01983 533 924. If you have any questions or feel you would like a home assessment where you may be entitled to low vision aids, please contact the White Sense team on 240 222.
Alexa and CPR. If the unthinkable happens and someone goes into cardiac arrest in your home, Alexa can help you provide life-saving CPR. Just say, "Alexa, activate emergency CPR." Alexa will then explain how to do chest compressions safely using a metronome to ensure you maintain a steady rhythm. The CPR instructions Alexa provides can be a lifeline, potentially helping to sustain a person's life until professional help arrives. You must say the exact wording though in order to avoid Alexa not understanding, which is, "Alexa, activate emergency CPR," and to remain calm when speaking.
Thank you to our volunteers. We will be holding our next volunteer update on Tuesday the 19th of November here at Millbrook House from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. At this update we will be showing our new Volunteer With Us booklet and the new Volunteer Induction Handbook that goes with it. If you are a current volunteer, or if it is something you have been thinking about doing, please do come along.
Unclaimed pension credit, read by Lisa. According to the most recent figures published by the Department of Work and Pensions, an estimated £1.8 billion in pension credit went unclaimed during the financial year 2018 to 2019 alone, and it is mounting up because it is not an automatic payment. You must claim it. It is estimated around 1 million households are eligible but are not claiming. If your claim is successful, you may be able to access other savings too. Free TV licence for over 75s, the warm home discount, free dental treatment and a reduction in your council tax. Pension credit can be worth up to £3,000 per year for a single pensioner. Pension credit is a tax-free, means-tested benefit aimed at retired people on low incomes. It is made up of two parts, and while some people get both, many can qualify for just one of the two. Guaranteed credit. This is the main part of pension credit, giving you a top-up of your weekly income to a minimum guaranteed level. The minimum standard guaranteed level for 2021-22 is £177.10 if you're single and £270.30 if you're a couple. Savings credit. For those who reach state pension age before April 2016, there's an extra boost available if you've made provision for your retirement via savings, work or a private pension. This gives you up to £14.04 per week if you are single and £15.71 per week if you are a couple. To qualify, you've got to earn above a threshold amount of £153.70 if you're single and £244.12 if you are a couple. While exactly what you can claim depends on which elements you qualify for and other factors, it can be worth £3,000 per year on average. However, your claim is affected if you have more than £10,000 in savings and investment. Who is eligible to claim pension credit? To qualify for pension credit, you must live in the UK, have reached state pension age, and if you're a couple, you'll both need to have reached state pension age. You don't have to be married or in a civil partnership. You're considered a couple if you live together. For couples, one partner claims and gives income and saving details for both parties. To get a good idea of whether you're likely to be eligible for pension credit, you can use the 10-minute benefits calculator. This calculator is not a guarantee on eligibility, but is likely to give you a good idea. And it will also give you an idea of how much you could be eligible for. You can access this via moneysupermarketexpert.com website or ask us to help. Pension credit isn't paid out automatically. You must make a claim. You can apply via the gov.uk website or by calling the pension service on 0800 7310 469. That is 0800 7310 469. You can backdate it for 3 months. The quicker you call, the quicker you can claim.
Open Day 2024. A huge thank you to everyone who came to our Open Day on the 24th of September, held at the Riverside Centre. It was such a delight to see so many new faces and welcome new exhibitors to the day.
Electric buses, read by Lisa. Lisa, CEO of Sight for White, contacted Southern Vexus recently regarding electric buses and has asked questions to help dispel some of the myths about them. Question: do the buses make a noise all the time when they're moving? Answer: yes, they do. Question: does the noise change with the speed? Answer: there is an audible sound until the tyre road noise kicks in at around 20 kilometres per hour. Do they make a noise when they stop to know that they are then stationary? They have air and hydraulic noise, including the stop-start engines on the new buses, especially on Route 1. Do the doors make an audible sound when they open and close? Yes, they do. They operate the same way as our current fleet, so you would hear the hiss of them opening. Are they fitted with speakers internally to make passengers aware of the stops? If so, where are the speakers placed, and is there also a screen? They will be fitted with our next stop announcement systems with speakers on the lower and upper decks. We won't know the exact locations until we decide on which manufacturer we will be using. There will also be an announcement screen. We hope this information is useful, but please remember, if you ever experience anything on a bus, please do contact us with real details of where and when so I can continue to work to improve things. Lisa, CEO, thank you.
Glaucoma UK. Glaucoma UK campaign to raise awareness so that glaucoma is detected early and can be treated. They support people to live well with the disease and fund sight-saving research. Their aim is to end preventable glaucoma sight loss. They provide a range of free services to help people living with glaucoma and everyone who cares for them. Call their helpline if you'd like to talk about glaucoma or related conditions such as dry eye or blepharitis. Their helpline is available to answer your questions. They provide advice and support at every stage of your journey with glaucoma. Call the helpline on 01233 648 170 or email helpline@glaucoma.uk. They're open 9:30am to 5pm Monday to Friday. If you call outside these working hours, just leave a message and they will call you back as soon as possible. The Glaucoma UK website, Glaucoma UK, has lots of advice and resources if you're looking for support, including information on compliance aids for putting in eye drops. They produce a range of information resources covering all aspects of living with glaucoma. All our publications are free to order or download through our website, glaucoma.uk, thanks to the generosity of Glaucoma UK supporters. Glaucoma Surgery Buddy Scheme. If you're worried about treatment or surgery, you can speak to someone who has first-hand experience thanks to our Buddy Scheme. Contact our helpline team on 01233 648 170 or email helpline@glaucoma.uk for more information. Glaucoma support groups. Their support groups give you the opportunity to meet other people with glaucoma and share your experiences. Healthcare professionals also attend, so you'll have the opportunity to ask the questions that matter most to you. They also run digital glaucoma support groups, which are online webinars you can join from the comfort of your home. Details of all glaucoma support groups can be found on their website, or you can call their helpline team on 01233 648 170 or email helpline@glaucoma.uk. Community events. Their knowledge team give community talks about glaucoma across the UK. Visit the events calendar on their website to find an event near you, or contact their helpline on 01233 648 170 or email helpline@glaucoma.uk.
Hello, this is Debbie from Dress for Less. Have you ever considered becoming a volunteer at Dress for Less? We would like to invite you to an open afternoon. This is an opportunity to come to the shop and see how it all works. Meet our volunteers and ask any questions you may have. We will serve light refreshment, and this will be held on Wednesday the 13th of November between 1 p.m. and 3:30. That's at Dress for Less, 57 Pyle Street, Newport, PO 30 1UL. Please RSVP on 01983 523197, or you can leave me a message. Thank you.
Chris's Crackers.
I went to the airport and tripped over some luggage. I went flying.
I saw a TV for sale for the bargain price of £1, but it said stuck on full volume. I thought, I can't turn that down.
I drank a bottle of disappearing ink yesterday and had to go to A&E. I spent ages in there waiting to be seen.
I went into WH Smith's and bought a book of raffle tickets for £2.50, which is a bargain as they're usually £1 a strip.
I said to this guy, "Where can I find out about the next train from London to Glasgow?" He said, "Look online." So I said, "That's a bit dangerous, isn't it?"
I made a belt out of watches and showed it to a friend, asking what he thought, and he said, "What a waste of time."
A man has been found guilty for overusing commas. The judge warned him to expect a long sentence.
A stranger offered me a free guitar, so I accepted it, providing there were no strings attached.
How much does a chimney cost? Nothing, it's on the house.
Our 100 Club. Do you know we have our own 100 Club? This is our own lottery, but restricted to 100 members. Each month, entrants pay £2 for a number, with 40% prize money distributed as a single prize, and the remaining 60% going directly to support our services. This quarter's winners are John, Jenny, and John. Plus, we welcome Anna, John, Viv, Jean, Eva and Betty. If you would like to join the Sight for White 100 Club, it is just £2 a month. You can pay annually or by standing order each month.
Contact details. Sight for White. Telephone 01983 52205. Email inquiries@iwsb.org.uk. Website sightforwhite.org.uk. White Sense. Telephone 01983 240 222. Email info@whitesense.org.uk. Web whitesense.org.uk. Opening hours Monday to Friday 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Dress for less. Telephone 01983 523 197. Email retail@iwsb.org.uk. Address 57 Pyle Street, Newport, Isle of Wight, PO30 1UL. Newsletter available in the following formats: Alexa, USB, Braille.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello. Whether we like it or not as visually impaired people, we're living in a digital world. Some people do like it very much. They feel empowered by it, able to do things independently that would have been almost impossible before the digital age. Others get by, trying to solve their technology problems as they come up, just about coping, and some sink without trace, overcome by the complexity of it all and finding it impinging on day-to-day tasks, such as banking, paying for things in shops and restaurants, feeling as if the world has moved on without them. Here is just a small sample of the views that we're hearing as people try to navigate the world of touchscreens, smartphones, apps, QR codes, etc.
Visually impaired community are going to essentially live in digital poverty going forward. And I think that's an absolute travesty, considering that you need technology to communicate with your kid's school, to book a swimming session, to check your online banking, to do anything. And that's just outside of work.
There seems to be this obsession with touchscreen everywhere. It restricts my life and what I can do. I don't want a different life. I just want to be able to take part in life like everybody else does. And the technology is absolutely there to enable us to do it. But nobody seems to be saying to these people, this is the standard, this is what you need to do. Get on and do it. You know, I use an iPhone, that's what I'm talking to you on now, you know, and I can use it. But if you go out in the community and you try to use the technology that's there, it's not accessible.
We aren't going to stop the tide of touchscreens. We aren't going to stop the tide of digital becoming more and more embedded into our daily lives.
Listeners Ian Mayer, Philip Whiteleaf and data privacy lawyer Matt Johnson. And it's because of views like those, especially that last one, an uncompromising but undoubtedly accurate prediction, that we've convened this Brains Trust of guests to try to figure out where meaningful help can be found when it comes to coping with this tsunami of developments. And more specifically, if you ask why now, well, it's the consternation from many In Touch listeners which greeted the RNIB's decision to close the Technology for Life service in its current form, one of the few national resources dedicated to advising blind and partially sighted people when they run into tech trouble. Well, I'm going to invite all our guests to spell out their roles when it comes to offering help, starting with Debbie Miller, Director of RNIB's Consumer Advice and Support. Debbie, why the change, some would say breaking up of Technology for Life, and what will it now offer that it didn't before?
Thank you, Peter. So, yeah, as you know, we have changed some of the delivery model, but actually very much part of the work that we did was to ensure that that technology expertise was more available up front to customers that were calling us. So prior to our change, we had some wonderful experts in technology, and we've retained that and we're broadening out that skill set so that our specialist advice team, which has more coverage throughout the UK over the phone, can incorporate that skill set to deliver first time as best as possible when our customers call us.
You say you're going to be keeping the specialists, but what you're actually doing, I think, is training up a lot of people who will not be specialists, will they? By very definition, they won't be specialists. And that's people's worry, that they will not have the direct level of expertise that they thought they would get in the past.
So we've retained a number of our specialist skills, as well as training more broader sight loss advisors that can help with that. And as you know, the spectrum of technology is vast, so we will always need to retain that specialism when it comes to specific or specialist assistive tech. But it's really important that we can also provide quick turnaround responses to customers that might have a more general technology question.
Right. I'm sure we're going to come back to that because I'll get you all in first. I want to go to Julian Garner. You're here representing TAVIP, or Technology Association of Visually Impaired People. People might think, hearing that, here's the organisation which can provide all the help and training I might need. Just explain what you actually do and what help you can actually provide at the moment.
Thank you. Yes, well, TAVIP runs on people power. We've got 450 members who are visually impaired. So we're like a big self-help group. And we run an online email discussion forum, online webinars. So we can help, but it's about people join the charity, then they're able to access that support from other people, either online or through email. But clearly that requires people to be online in the first place. We've always had a focus on work, and about 12 months ago, we piloted a project called Technology for Work. And we will provide 5 hours of specific support for people around the technology they need to get into the workplace.
Right. Well, we'll come back to that and to some of the other things that you're working on in the future. Dotted around the UK, of course, are hundreds of local voluntary associations. Now, Visionary is the umbrella under which they shelter. Mark Upton, you're Visionary's chair and CEO of a local voluntary organisation in Oxford. What are those associations able to offer?
As anybody can imagine, it does vary quite a bit across the UK. Different local sight loss charities are offering different things. And I would say nowadays many local charities are prioritising tech and take it very seriously. You may have a volunteer-led scheme where a volunteer is leading on the tech too, like what we have here in Oxfordshire is a team of people who are supporting people through their technology journey. So unfortunately, it does depend on where you live in the UK with local support. Not everyone has the same level of in-depth. I think that's probably what I'd add, is that actually some are providing sort of introductory, where they just don't have the expertise or resources. But our members in Visionary are sort of, definitely up in their game, I'd say, over time, and offering probably a lot more than we used to 10 years ago.
But just outline what is stopping them from offering more.
Quite a lot. A lot of it, obviously, for local societies will come down to finances and what the charity can afford to fund. And the other challenge is obviously volunteers. We've got a huge deficit across the UK of volunteers. You need volunteers with skills, with knowledge of technology, and again, not just general knowledge of technology.
Right, we'll come back to that. Simon Labbett, you represent the people who offer rehab training to visually impaired people, usually, though not always, to newly blind people, and again, usually working for local authorities. So does teaching assistive technology come under your members' remit responsibilities?
It most definitely does. And I think where we have an advantage to some extent is we work in people's homes. So as part of finding out how someone's getting on after losing sight, we're talking to them about what they might want to be carrying on with. And technology is frequently the solution to those things. And so we will sit with someone and teach them, watch how they're learning from it and adapt how we teach. That's the theory anyway.
I was going to say that that's what should happen. Perhaps how many people do you reckon actually get the tech training they need when they need it, which is perhaps quite early on, really?
Yes, that's the caveat. If we are in there in a timely fashion, vision rehab specialists are trained as part of their learning to understand adaptive technologies. But as you say, it depends on when we get in there.
And what stops you getting in there in time?
Waiting lists, as ever. It's the same old story, isn't it? But I mean, if communication is a particular problem and someone's very isolated, that is a prioritisation factor, particularly if they have hearing loss as well as sight loss.
We'll come back to you. What about the people who supply specialist and often quite expensive equipment to blind people? Also with us is Stuart Lawler from Sight and Sound Technology, one of the major providers of assistive tech in the UK and Ireland. Stuart, can you deliver training? Because, as I've said, this equipment can often be quite pricey. It's all very well to sell it to someone. Can you train them to use it?
We can train people to use it. We wish we could train more people, and we wish we could spend more time with people. We can provide face-to-face training, but of course there is a cost for that, and the resources we have are limited. We talk a lot to our charity partners throughout the UK to support them, I guess, in trying to share the knowledge to their service users. But, we know and we're very clear that there are gaps out there. We do have telephone tech support throughout the UK and in Ireland as well. And the telephone tech support is for the lifetime of the product, is free of charge. But of course, there's a difference between troubleshooting and training. We will frequently, at some of the big trade shows like Sight Village, for example, people will come up to us with their technology. In fact, I have done it myself several times. We'll sit with people and we'll do training sessions during Sight Village because that's the only time people have to get face-to-face to us. So we really try to do what we can, but we do see that there's a big issue with how people can actually access training across the UK.
Let me bring in our final guest, Robin Christopherson of AbilityNet. Robin, just explain what you do, what AbilityNet does, and where it fits into this picture that we've just heard.
Sure, yeah. So AbilityNet, we have a number of commercial services, making sure that companies have accessible websites and apps, and that funds our free services to disabled individuals. So we're a pan-disability, pan-technology organisation. So what does that mean? It means we cover all areas of technology, from how you can customise what you've already got in your hand to really quite specialist, complex solutions that are across different disabilities potentially. Because often, if you've got a vision impairment, say, does the solution that might be recommended to you by a vision-only organisation work with other solutions you might need to be using? So if you've got dyslexia as well, which dyslexic software works well with a screen reader?
Is mainly what you're doing then recommending the right kind of piece of equipment? You're not actually training people from scratch or training people face-to-face?
We absolutely do. So the free services that we provide, we have a UK-wide network of volunteers. We actually rolled into our volunteer network, the RNIB's network of volunteers, so thank you very much for that. So we've got nearly 500 volunteers that will come into people's homes. They're mostly IT professionals, but they won't just come and go. They will offer that support on an ongoing basis, and they can train as well, although that's not an official part of our remit, but they absolutely do that on a regular basis.
Right, so plenty of well-intentioned people there in organisations which on the face of it are at least in a position to help when people are in tech trouble. So just before we come back to you all to figure out why it isn't working for so many people that we're hearing about, let's hear a bit more from listeners Ian Mayer and Simon Howe about why they've struggled with getting the help they need when they need it.
I went to, I think, probably the most kind of obvious ports of call. So I approached Henshaw's Sight Loss charity, and they offered an in-person session, which was very useful, but it was quite surface. Later on, I had experience with the RNIB, and it was a very positive experience, but it was limited. I don't want to be too critical of it because it felt like one of the only places I could go to, but it was limited. It was a very steep learning curve. A lot of it felt like it was coming from me. It was my drive.
I've got an iPhone, but I've been unable to access properly emails. You need a degree in acrobatics, I think, to actually get it to function. Now, I approached the RNIB on this because I thought there must be a simple technical solution to this. And the net result was that the people I spoke to were stuck, as I was. A friend has found an alternative app. It does seem a little extraordinary that a friend has just been able to look in their phone, and there it was. And that is what I couldn't understand, is why didn't anybody else know that?
Well, it's a good question. Debbie Miller, how will this new look version of Technology for Life solve these kind of problems? Because what people are saying is people are doing their best to be helpful, but maybe it isn't at the kind of level that they really need.
There is an element where tech is moving so quickly and our manufacturers aren't providing even our organisations the insight we need to keep up with it, that there is a risk we all get left behind a little bit, especially when it comes to household brand. I would say from a specialist tech perspective, we would be experts and be able to find someone that can guide and navigate a customer through their needs.
Face-to-face, because that's what people really need, face-to-face help.
Yeah, we do that, but like we've heard from others, we rely on volunteers throughout the country. We've got good coverage in some parts of the country, not in others. So I feel like as a sector, we all have to come together to find a person with the right solutions for a customer.
We're working towards that idea of how they can come together. We can't leave this first part of the Brains Trust without addressing the kinds of issues that listener Philip Whiteleaf in particular was talking about, those which affect visually impaired people, whether they engage with tech or not. I mean, it's being increasingly embedded into our day-to-day lives, the prevalence of flat screen card machines, using smartphones to pay for things, the barrage of digital forms, etc. What Philip's described as being excluded from the mainstream. I mean, this is surely an access issue. For a start, Simon Labbit, will current rehab courses include coping with those situations, as part of standard daily living skills, in the same way as in the past you would have dealt with help in the kitchen and help walking about with a white cane?
What we would teach are things like using your phone in those kind of situations and giving people the confidence, because it does come down to confidence, how to use them in everyday settings. And that might mean going out to a cafe with someone and demonstrating how to use the QR code, putting it next to the reader or whatever it is. So, yeah, it's part of when you get to go out and do orientation and mobility training, you are using apps at the same time. You're on the bus, you're using apps, you're teaching people how to do these things. And also, we build into the advocacy skills where you find that you can't get around it and you want to make a point, you're being excluded. So we try and support people to stand up for themselves.
Debbie Miller, is enough pressure being put on, companies and government, for that matter, to correct this excluding behaviour? After all, couldn't legislation be used here, shouldn't it, to compel companies to use equipment which already exists? Doesn't a campaigning organisation like RNIB press more for this to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. We are doing a lot of work with government and campaigning to talk about legislation. I struggle every day with using my Apple Pay because I'm never actually that sure, how much I'm paying because I can't see those tools. Yet, I'm part of this community and I give a lot to it. And all of our customers across everyone on the call today really need to champion that, and that these organisations and manufacturers can do a better job in thinking about accessibility in design and not relying on charities and other organisations to ensure there are tools that support accessibility afterwards.
Just quickly to bring in Robin Christopherson. I mean, this is part of your whole remit, isn't it, on AbilityNet? This is about accessible services or the lack of them.
Absolutely. And we work with companies increasingly these days who have kiosk solutions, touch screen solutions, making sure that these are going to be as accessible as possible and will work well with screen reading solutions, the likes of Sight and Sound and Dolphin offer for kiosk solutions specifically. So, yeah, one would hope that space will improve as things go forward. But absolutely, an AbilityNet volunteer can come into your home, help you set up a smartphone for the first time, and then help you get up and running on knowing how to maybe buy that mobile train ticket online without having to deal with the kiosks when you get to the station itself. So absolutely, it's a sort of a double-edged or twin-ended approach that, both need to be accessible and inclusive.
And that's it for today, but not for this topic. We've concentrated so far on identifying the problems. Next week, we're inviting our panel back to suggest some of the solutions. So do join us for that. For today, from me, Peter White, and producer Beth Hemmings, goodbye.
BBC Sounds, music, radio, podcasts.
The scaffolding news and Skips news for the 25th of October 2024.
Newport area, Malthouse Court, Crocker Street, 10 Crocker Street, Island Beds, 90 High Street, Mencap, 69 High Street, Outside the Entertainer, St James's Street, 48 High Street, 120 Lower St James's Street, 36 High Street, Hong Kong Express, Holyrood Street, 47 High Street, Shoe Zone, High Street, and 1 Holyrood Street. And the Newport area skips at 3 Cyprus Road.
And the Ryde area, pavement outside 29 to 30 Cross Street, 45 George Street, 39 Nelson Street, 73 George Street, Cloudknown Cross Street, 63 George Street, 116 High Street, 18 to 19 Cross Street, Serendipity Diamonds, 185 High Street, 51 Park Road, 1 Foreland Road, Bembridge, Weatherspoons, Union Street, Crepe Lovers, 21 High Street, and the Ryde area skips are 38 Princes Street and the Lodge, Fairy Road, Seaview.
Shanklin area, 47 Regent Street, 7 Esplanade, Pencil Cottage, 2 Church Street, and 112 Regent Street.
And the Cowes area, 5 Granville Road, 72D High Street.
Sandown area, 3 Pierce Street, 27A High Street, and Sandown area skips 3 Station Avenue.
Brading area, Northwood House, 31 High Street, Brading.
Ventnor area, Mandarin Chinese, 92 High Street, and the Cider Barn in Godshill.
And Totland area skips, Flaxton Cottage, Western Lane.